OTB, who's this?
I'm Ethan Sloniker, Bikeworks powered Donnell Suzuki, 250B, 450B, Schoolboy 2, and you're listening to Over the Bars.
We're fun, aren't we?
Yeah.
Scott, what am I going to have to do to get you to Oakland?
That might be the question of the night. Make it an hour and a half closer.
Yeah, but okay.
But I drove 5.5 hours to Oklahoma last week.
Right.
Yeah.
So, no, the thing about Oakland that you need to take into consideration is whenever you go, number one, you get to do whatever the fuck you want whenever you're there because it's an open riding area. True. There are more than one track for you to ride. We have a hidden jump track that's like the ultimate BMX pump track.
Remember the last time that happened? I rode a BMX pump type track on pit bikes.
Well, we're going to wear full gear. So Scott gave himself a lower back contusion in 2008.
Bad. Yeah, I thought it was
We
broke.
took him to the hospital. It was bad.
I went to the emergency room. Crashed on a 50.
No, you were on a 70.
70.
No, you were on a 50.
Yeah, no, because I folded the 50, basically folded it in half. So, yeah, it was the 50.
Listen to this. The smallest jump on the BMX.
It was like a little setup jump for the biggest jump on it.
So
and
it was cool because it was
it.
like this left-handed hip. You came down the hill, left-handed hip. You shot down into the trail, and that was obviously you got to have gravity pulling you down on a bicycle, but for dirt bikes you don't. And so as soon as you landed off of that, there was just a little. I mean, I'm saying like. If you rolled the jump on a 50, you would drop the front wheel down and then it would raise up and you could center over the whole of the jump, right?
Okay.
The face was this tall. So you'd float off of that one into the face of the next one, which was 10, 12 feet. And like we built up all the jump faces where they were at least like 5 foot tall or so. They're big jumps. And Scott crashed on the smallest one because he just barely caught his front wheel, shorted that tiny little thing, and he endoed head first and like Scorpion Kinged himself.
Basically, yeah. Like you see, like if you follow on Instagram, kids getting hurt, and then you see some kid fold in half. That
give
was
yourself
me.
about a thumb width.
A thumb width. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Now I'm muffled.
Why do you follow on Instagram kids getting hurt?
Because it's
awesome.
It's worth it. It's worth every
Hashtag my kids hurt.
I mean, I don't have any kids, but it's funny watching other people's kids get hurt.
Yeah.
It's quality entertainment on Instagram. Worth it. It's kind of like watching, following OSHA. Is this okay?
Yeah, that's good.
You see cranes fall down and stuff. So
there's a lot of really. You don't watch OSHA accidents or workplace accident videos?
I've never even.
You didn't know it's a thing.
That's what I do for a living.
That's
what I do for a living.
See, that's
workplace
what it's
create
like.
Accidents?
No, prevent them. Or try to prevent them.
Yeah.
Or deal with them if they happen.
So anyway, Oakland. And like, I want to talk about Oakland a lot because I want people to start going out there and experiencing how good of riding there is.
Time out.
Hit me.
No matter what you say after this point, if your answer is incorrect here, we'll make this place okay. Is there quads allowed?
Yes.
Nope. No good.
See? Now hold on.
No good.
Pause.
No.
Wait, it's coming from the side-by-side guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, we all have dark times. We all.
Hold on. Where's the? Let's see that photo right
right
there.
over here. I'm looking at it right now.
No,
you
here.
don't.
Okay, so Mike, the side-by-side guy, says no quads. No. Okay, the quads make it titties because there are these gigantic bowls out there that the quads have cut ins that like dirt bikes could never ever build.
Soft bowls or are they like hard packed concrete BMX bowls?
See, it depends
everything
on what the weather's like whenever you go.
Yeah.
Today it was pretty dry. Yeah, it was pretty dry because
we went today.
Yeah, with the rainstorm didn't go through Topeka.
Right.
It was essentially along I-35 last night. So anyway, dude, the corners are amazing. There's what I call the front track, which is that you can make it two ways. You can either it's like a imagine like a 6-sided horseshoe. So like Sidewinder, how they do that. So it's like a Sidewinder track, but there's like stutter bumps and stuff in between each corner, and then there's sand bowls. Right now they're kind of more like, I don't know, silt bowls because it was so dry. But there's braking bumps, acceleration bumps, big chop in between each one, and then the coolest part is you make this hard left that's got like a built up bowl into a flat, and then there's literally like a 6 foot tall 90-degree bowl, 450 second gear, come in completely wide open and just carve through it, dude.
Bury it.
So whenever we were out there on Thursday night, it was okay. Picture this.
Dun dun dun.
I'm ready. Okay.
The sun.
Am I supposed to close my eyes?
Sure, if you'd
Okay,
like to.
all right.
Yeah. So the sun is setting.
Mike's actually doing it.
There are beautiful clouds off in the distance. It's about 76 degrees with a southern wind blowing in from the south. And, dude, I'm out there just carving through these fucking sand bowls, bro. Just elbows up. I mean, perfect, right?
Okay.
Now, I know you've never been surfing, but this track is the literal closest thing to surfing that you will get within the next closest place to ride that would be like that is the Three Palms Jeep or river track. So,
which is super sick.
Right.
By the way.
Now, obviously, this corner track is not as large as that. Now, we've expanded it and found some more areas to incorporate into the track. You cut off of the track. There's more bowls off in this field, and then this gigantic like GP-style sweeper. And every type of terrain you can hit just in one track. We've got loamy black dirt, trail, technical, motocross, bowls, couple jumps. Like everything's all incorporated. That's one track that is like 1/50th of the property. And then you have miles of trail. You've got the sandbar, which you can go out and do.
Just destroy your motorcycle.
If you wish. I mean, if you want to,
I've done that.
Yeah, you've done it.
And it's
a lot of
Or
fun.
you borrow Nick's.
or you just
you
wear
can ride a
somebody else's
bike.
bike and then you don't have to worry about it.
And today, so Harrison Helmick, who is kind of unknown in our area, GNCC XC2 racer. Goes to like every GNCC. He lives in Overland Park. Absolute total badass on a motorcycle. I just met him. Dude, he's 24 years old? Him and I have been racing dirt bikes at the same time for like 15 years. And he lives just in Overland Park. And I just met him for the very first time at the Riverfront GP.
That's crazy.
Isn't that insane?
That's not a normal thing.
Now, here's the thing.
That's not like
Right, no.
Yeah.
But check this out. Harrison could go to a Missouri State race and be competitive in the pro class.
good. If he's that good running GNCCs, I would hope so.
That's the thing.
Absolutely.
I mean, like, he is an extremely talented rider and just been a woods guy, but is totally capable at motocross.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I mean, but
No.
why would you? You're not a GNCC fan.
No.
Okay, so anyway,
So what? Back to the original question. What's it going to take to get me to go there?
Yeah.
Not a text the day before at like 9 p.m. because I don't do that anymore. To be honest, I don't just throw it in the van and go.
you are part
I am
of the
the
Oakland
worst.
Riders Club of America Facebook group.
Am I?
Yes.
Oh. Beats the hell out of me.
Yeah. So I don't
guess
know.
I am.
Well, maybe
But-
if you're not, then we need to get you in there because Nick and I are pretty much the two organizers of getting people to go out there. And the last 2 Thursdays, we've had 15 to 20 people out there that are motocross riders out there riding, and it's great. I mean, you have so much variety, so many options, and the thing is, there's no practice schedule. You just go out and ride until you cannot ride anymore. Harrison and I rode a woods loop today, and okay, I know how you are about riding in the woods. It is not like riding. Okay, there's not a single rock. Okay.
Oh, well, that's
Yeah.
You've
What about
got my
trees?
attention then.
There are a few trees.
That would make trail. That would.
But dude, the corners are all just. I mean, there's.
It's fun.
Dude, it's just fun. There are bar dragging corners in the woods.
Okay.
Yeah.
We just need to set it up. Let's do it.
Yeah. You'll love it, dude. I mean, 10 out of 10 time. Everybody that goes there, and like there are people that are skeptical about Oakland that are like, I'm not really a woods guy. And then they end up going out there and they're like, holy fuck, I haven't had this much fun on a dirt bike in years.
I'm going to totally contradict myself. Would this or would this not be a great place for me to join this party on the Honda Recon with the racks and shred some gnar?
Absolutely.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Add me to the
Push
group.
button shift and everything.
Yes, electric shift.
Power steering?
Of course.
Yeah, that's a nice rig.
2-wheel or 4-wheel drive.
Now, see, where you would come in major clutch is we could strap chainsaws and other like accessories to your quad.
Yes.
And then get you like in the back parts where the jump track is and where some of the other trail is at to do some maintenance.
So he's not going to ride around with the chainsaws on.
Like
That's what I would. Yeah, that's what I like. Some
Is it
road
front
rash
throttle?
or whatever.
Oh,
you
of course
call
it
it.
is.
yeah, baby.
Yeah.
Push button electric shift.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, why wouldn't it be?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's got 3 of the same size wheels. The back one's a little bit smaller. I'm not sure what quad that came off of, but
Wow.
So could you? I mean, there's no reason for you to not come out there.
I'm in.
Honestly, yeah.
If Mike's going, I'll go.
Okay.
yeah.
Do you have a trailer to
Mike's
get it
in,
out
I'll
there
go.
with?
Yeah.
Of course you do. Yeah, that was a stupid question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so dude, I mean, it's 30 minutes away from me, and it's sandy. It's sandy soil. It's the fucking soil that I want to ride a dirt bike in. Now,
Hey,
there's no. I mean, it's not like KC Moto. I can't go out and throw gigantic whips, but throwing whips doesn't make me any faster. Riding this stuff makes me faster.
Have you ever really done a gigantic whip?
Fuck you. I'll whip my cock out on your face.
Hey,
and
I
then
remember when your mom would Photoshop the Grain Valley Flyers just to add a little tilt to
a
you.
little twist, a little tinge.
Whatever.
He's actually in a corner, but she photoshopped it to where it looks like he's in the air doing
That's
that.
probably
Dude,
about right.
my mom
yeah.
taught me so much about Photoshop.
I remember when X2 first started, to make flyers, it was like cut actual pictures out and tape them on, and then you copy them. Do you remember that?
Yeah, that was the original Grain Valley Flyer.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
So to those that are watching on Facebook Live right now,
Oh, we got 15 of them.
hello,
Hey,
thanks for
folks.
joining. So just so you guys
look
know,
at that.
most of these folks are probably from Kansas City. If you've ever been to Grain Valley, GV, whatever you want to call it, the original track was called X2, which was the extension of Midwest Extreme Park. And the original track name of Midwest Extreme Park is, Mike, do you remember?
Hold on.
I'm failing this quiz right now.
Hold on.
I knew
Hold
it at
on.
one point.
Hold on. Midwest Extreme Park.
The
was
original name.
The original name.
Bum, bum, bum.
Man,
Okay,
I don't-
just go give us
I
a
thought
he
that's
failed.
what it was. I thought
No,
it was extreme.
it's-
Bump, bump,
No.
bump. Da bomb.
Oh, that's we've talked about this. This is
What?
like the original
Yeah.
name
The
from
original
like
name for the track
like
was
original
called
original
Da
name, like 4 names ago.
DABOMB. Da bomb. John Evans named the track Da bomb.
I don't remember that.
But it
Yeah.
didn't. It wasn't that long, was it? It wasn't Da Bomb for very long. Was
The
it?
first race only.
Right. Yeah. I was going to say it
You
wasn't.
know how many
yeah,
entries were the first race?
yeah, I was there.
Oh, it was over 500.
Yeah, that's where the guy
What?
came parachute, or had like a guy flying around throwing T-shirts.
Yeah.
out of
No
a
way.
hang
Yeah,
glider
yeah.
thing.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
No, it was like a full entertainment package.
Because it was Da Bomb.
It was. I was. No, that was the catch. Like, see,
Right.
John printed off these index cards.
Yeah.
He had index cards printed off that said, "You got to be there. It's gonna be Da bomb."
Well, yeah, 'cause why
and
did-
then it had the address and motocross, supercross, go kart track, everything. Like all like the ideas that he came up with. First race. It was like the last week of September. It might have been Labor Day weekend. I think it was. And so, yeah, Saturday practice.
Yeah.
And this was before people did Saturday practice.
Right.
My dad and John got the inspiration to do a Saturday practice at a race because of Millville. Because at Millville, they always did Saturday
well, it
practice.
used to be KCR Friday nights, Lamoni on Saturdays and then wherever Lake City Sundays or whatever. They were different race days. Everything was a race.
Yeah. Nobody had Saturday practice. Da Bomb was the one that introduced that to Missouri.
And 20 years later, ironically, Da Bomb is host to Boom Diggity. Boom.
Yeah. Boom. There it is.
Boom. There it is.
Yeah. So, anyway, yeah. Da
Do you
Bomb.
remember the Supercross track there?
Yeah.
Wasn't it where the pond is now?
In the front?
Yeah.
Yes.
And then where was there was another track somewhere that was there too, but what was the one that was like back behind the track where the trails are now?
Well, that was just there was a grass track.
Yeah, it was just a track.
Yeah.
Okay.
That I think I crashed really hard on one time.
But the Supercross is right there in the
85,
pits now.
80.
Yep.
Where the pond is.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was Supercross. It was like a fair track.
Yeah, it was mild.
But it was only there for like a year before they leveled it and then put, but yeah, I mean, me and Zach Evans were the first ones to ever turn laps there.
Check it out. Omaha, Nebraska, southern Minnesota. That's pretty rad.
What's that?
People are joining in from Omaha,
they're
Nebraska.
saying-
I don't know if I'm really
listening in.
if I'm that old, but I cannot read a single name on the side over there.
Yeah, I can't either.
I can read all of them.
Whatever. So anyway, yeah. Da Bomb. I want to keep talking about this because it was,
Okay,
it
Da Bomb.
It was Da
hasn't
Bomb.
really been talked about.
Right.
So a lot of people also don't know. Okay, so my dad built the track at Da Bomb. I'm going to keep going at Da Bomb. So my dad built the track at Da Bomb, and John was like the businessman. He was the one that was promoting and drumming up. Dude, I mean, they had sponsors and people, like car dealerships throwing cash to John for advertising and stuff like that.
One of the dealerships had the cars set up there, didn't they?
If I don't remember correctly, or if I remember incorrectly, you would be wrong. Do you like how I said that?
What?
Yeah, you're right. If memory serves me correct, you're right.
Yeah, I thought one of the Chevy dealers had like all their cars set up.
And then there was, do you remember how all the corners were marked with go-kart tires?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they were all fastened together. I found that out because I hit them and I thought, I'm going down, but I'm going to hit the go-kart tires and they're just going to scatter. No, they stopped me because they weren't quite as forgiving as you might think when they're all chained together into one piece. And the whole wall fell.
Yeah. So then, okay, so here's what's real key that nobody knows about this place. John bought that property from Jeremiah Gilliland's dad. Jeremiah Gilliland is, if those who don't know, operates Casey Moto.
Right.
Yeah, so that was originally Gilliland's property. There were
Didn't know that.
there was quad trails all over that property for hunting because that's what Jeremiah's dad does is he develops property as hunting plots and then sells it.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, so he'll go out and put in food plots and hunting stands and develop the property to hunters.
Man, look at you using hunting lingo. Man, I'm impressed.
I'm a jack of all trades, a master of none.
Yeah, well, that couldn't be more accurate.
Yeah. So then, all right. So then my dad wanted to build a track in town. And
Did we just get on the history of Missouri
Yeah, I don't
motocross?
know.
How did we get
We
here?
went from Oakland and riding quads with chainsaws to
Da Bomb. X2. No, he said X2.
No,
X2.
you said X.
I said X2.
I don't know. I don't know.
Somehow we got
whatever.
X2.
Maybe I
X2
said
got
it. I
brought
don't
up.
know.
Okay, well, anyway.
We can replay it later.
So the original name of Grain Valley was X2 because my dad and John were like associates at Midwest Extreme. Then my dad wanted his own track here in town and let John, he gave John all the keys to operate Midwest Extreme Park. So Grain Valley Motocross X2, whatever you want to call it, was built in 1990.
I can answer this question.
8. No, it was built in 97.
Okay.
Construction started in November of 97.
Yes.
So here's what nobody knows, and we've talked about this, and I think we may have talked about it too separately.
The real name was
no.
The Great.
The Great. It was the greatest.
Yeah.
The
The
greatest-
Bomber.
Yeah, the Bomber. The property. Okay, so my dad never owned the property.
Okay.
My dad leased the property from the Grain Valley Fair Board.
Okay.
Okay. Are you ready for this? For $500 a year.
That's extremely cheap, Mike. If you're
Yes, it
trying
is.
to do the math or figure out what's
I was
going
trying
on.
to figure out what that would cost. Like,
Less than $100 a month.
I was more thinking like,
Or
if you look at
it's
it
like
per
$50
race,
a month.
like, how many races did he have a year?
Originally, I think they had 5. I think the first year they had 5.
So, if you want to look at it that way, it costs him $100
To
run a race,
Yep.
like property wise.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it costs them $500 a year annually, and the property changed hands from the Grain Valley Fair Board to some like this civic committee or something like that, and they were like, "Whoa! You're getting away with highway robbery here." My dad's like, "Okay, well, what's it going to cost me?" He's thinking, "Well, that's it. GV's over." They doubled it. So he was paying $1,000 a year for the track. Still, again, highway robbery.
Yeah, still.
Yeah. And then a property developer bought the property from the city, and then then my dad leased the property from him for a little bit more, not much more. And then this guy sold the property to Schrouts, and then my dad continued to operate races, and then kind of was like giving the keys to the Schrouts of how to do the races and the track and the ways of the property and the watering system and that kind of
How
stuff.
to till every inch of
Every
the
inch.
track.
Yeah,
Every inch. Don't miss an inch.
Timeout.
Again. Yeah. You have one timeout remaining.
Damn it. The watering system.
Uh-huh.
Wasn't it out there? Am I thinking of Grain Valley correctly? That like there was pipes ran underground all over to where like you took a small hose and you hooked it up.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the original.
Was that Grain Valley originally?
Yeah. And
Didn't you have sprinklers
Yeah,
at some
Grain
point?
Valley
Yeah.
had actual sprinklers for 2 years.
Really?
Yeah, so like we would just throw those bitches on for practice days. And like, I mean, it helped. It didn't cover the entire track,
Yeah.
but it would help water some of the corners and stuff.
Just spit it up.
remember
That's
that.
the
Yeah.
hardest part of watering, of prepping
sprinklers
tracks.
were they were hard to operate because you could only run the system one half at a time. So we do the east end and then the west end, because to keep the pressure high, he had to shut the valves off at the midpoint, the cutoff of the system, and run one side out of one pond and then flip it and then run the other side. So by the time that this side was wet over here, that side was already drying up. So the sprinklers they assisted, but they didn't water the track.
Why did he always make the sweeper on the right side extremely muddy?
He didn't. I did. That was my work. Yeah.
To ruin that corner?
To fucking destroy it,
Is
dude.
this what, are you saying when it went left or when it went right?
Left.
Left. When
Yeah.
it was the shorter version.
No.
Inside of where the pond is now.
Inside the pond or around the
No,
pond?
around the pond.
Around the pond.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole different deal.
Yeah.
It-
Whenever
And
it
then
was
it dropped down, had like the little gully jump
yeah,
thing.
yeah. And then the split section?
that
Remember
was
Yes.
that was
Yeah.
it was before, and the split section was there both with times,
No,
right?
no.
Or it just had the carve. It went like that before the step up.
See, the original layout before you went around the pond is you
Right.
turned left. There was a single on the inside,
Yep.
and then you turn, and then you kind of went straight, and then
Right.
another left, and again, my dad
Yep.
was all about making the insides and outsides fair.
Yeah.
Right.
So we put another single on the inside. You turn left, and then there was 3 big rollers,
Yep.
and then the step up. Well, then whenever he decided, hey, I'm going to go around the pond, he had Austin Butler's dad come out and clear out the east end of the property. And then whenever he did that and dug that pond out real deep down there, then, they built the bank up and then put the track on it, which was really cool in theory, but it ended up adding about 2 hours of prep time for about 15 seconds of track time. So that's why it ended up, he nixed it after a while.
When Alex Malott flew through the back of the SUV. Was the SUV in that sweeper?
It was before it because
It was the jump. It was the jump,
Yeah.
right? That
That
tabletop
tabletop,
double
yeah.
thing before
Okay.
you went into the back. It was
Yeah.
off of that.
he got
Okay, it
squarely
wasn't
off
that
the
far
table.
down. The car wasn't down like that straightaway.
It was just on the backside of that.
It was on the other side of the
jump.
fence.
Yeah.
But it was,
Axelrod managed to get himself over there.
yeah. I remember, wait, what happened? Yeah. There's still photos of that floating around somewhere, I
It
think.
pops up once a year.
Yeah,
on
well, yeah.
Time
Hop memories, whatever.
So yeah, now Shrouds have the track and it has its niche group of riders, which is cool. I mean, it's nice to have like that entry level track that guys that are not like super hardcore racers can just go out and weekend warrior ride whenever it's open.
Jerry C should open X3.
X3. So
I'm all for that. Jerry, if you're listening or tuned in,
X3, please.
X3,
But he
please,
always had an
please.
EXC bike, so he should name it EXC3.
Whoa.
I think you're onto something.
Extreme.
Extreme Cross 3.
Extreme.
And it just
cross.
has to
yeah.
be just giant jumps in.
Extra extreme
Extra
cross.
extreme. Extra extreme Cross 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah. So Scott and I have actually been talking about trying to find property, put a dirt bike track on.
We know where to do it.
Yeah.
We know the area perfect for.
Oh, it's right by the flat track. Did you know there's a flat track over there?
No, the go-kart track? I know the go-kart.
okay.
Is the go-kart track a flat track?
Yes.
Yeah.
They race bikes on it.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I just knew it was a go-kart
I'm really
track.
trying hard to get whoever, as in mainly you two, I want to go to this track and
Yeah.
watch it in action, but I'm going to need you guys to race flat track.
And you know that we can go and race with novice.
They have
too.
novice.
Yeah,
They have a
Novice
novice class?
Yeah.
That sounds like I'm going to get hurt. Let's do it.
I'm in. Where do I
yes.
sign?
Have you guys ever ridden flat track?
No.
No.
Me either.
No.
I watched it.
Yeah.
I went to high school with the kid that was super good at flat track.
Did you ever go to the Independence Event Center whenever they had the ice racing?
Mad Dog.
Mad Dog.
Mad Dog.
We went. There was this dude Sean from California that had like a long gray mullet, and his name was Sean.
I can't
Mad
believe you know
Dog.
his name.
I can't remember his
Doesn't
last
matter.
name.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. We
Mad
could
Dog.
find him, but yeah, Mad Dog.
dude.
That was it.
And like, he was an ex-pro or flat track racer, speedway racer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Speedway.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So they were speedway bikes raced
Yeah.
on ice.
and we went.
This sounds deadly.
We went and watched.
It was for my birthday one
Yeah,
year.
no,
it was a group
yeah,
of us,
yeah.
like 10 of us went.
Yeah, it was about 10 or 15.
Yeah, it was a big group.
There was a fair group of us, and whenever they announce McConnell, Sean
Yes,
Mad
that
Dog
is it.
McConnell.
That's
there
it.
it is.
You're
Whenever
right.
they announce Sean Mad Dog McConnell, and we were like, Mad Dog, just as soon as they said it. And all night long, dude, we were like his own personal cheering section. And like they acknowledged us over the PA.
We were so loud,
and
it was
he was
ridiculous.
like, giving us shout outs. Dude, listen to this. The dude had not won a speedway or ice race in like 10 years. Was like old dude.
he
old,
was like like a plus 40 guy,
Yeah.
plus 50 guy riding like the A class.
Yeah. Imagine if Jack Lambert just one day decided, screw it, I'm going to race the pro class this weekend, and then went out and won.
Like every moto.
Yeah.
Every moto
Heats,
he won.
semis, mains. Dude.
Mad Dog was on fire.
Unreal.
Okay, so now here's the thing. Mad Dog told us, because we saw him later in the pits, he was like, you guys did it for me. He's like, I don't know what it was, but you just brought me back.
He had ears on his helmet that flapped.
Yeah.
As he
No.
went around.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like big
serious.
flappy red ears.
Yeah. It
No.
was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It's so funny. You're right. I remember, guys, we were so loud. I was getting texts from other people I knew in the arena telling us to be quiet.
There was other people there watching.
There was a lot of people there.
This is Independence Event Center was brand new. So like every event
Okay.
was like sold out.
Yeah,
at
I
the
think
time.
it was in the first year of it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now it's Silver
Trent
Sign.
Simpson raced a quad there
Yeah,
that day.
he sure did.
They raced quads on
They
the
raced
ice?
quads on
It
the
didn't
ice,
work.
yeah. But they did it.
Did they have spiky tires too?
I don't
Yeah.
know. I think
on
probably.
on the rear. No, on the front. Yeah, both.
Would you? I don't.
They
I
had
don't
both.
know. Yeah.
But all they had to do is just, like Trent took some old tires and then just put sheet metal screws into it.
Whoop 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 whoop. Yeah. Are we going to be picking that up? who knows? Whatever. How many we got? What are we at? Is that
19?
19 people? I said I could read every name, and now I can't even read the 19.
I can't even
now.
read that.
Can you read that we're live?
I see the red box, and I know that means we're live, so that's all I know.
Yeah. I don't know what to tell you.
You know
what's
a man to do?
What are you ending it? Oh no! Oh, shit. I'm looking over here for your mouse to move, and it's right here. I don't know what I'm doing.
No, I was just clicking. I was just want to see how long we've been going.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, how long have we been going?
31 minutes.
No kidding.
Yeah. Shit you not.
Shit, you not.
You're my favorite turd.
Yeah,
Scott,
Mike.
you canceled your class.
I canceled my class April 14th.
Is it rescheduled?
Inman MX Park canceled my class today, and it was a good choice because John Paul sent me a photo of his front porch.
Was it frozen
in Wichita.
tundra?
It was a snowstorm. Yeah.
Man.
And that bums me out. April 14th, and I'm canceling a dirt bike class because of snow and 30-mile-an-hour winds and 30-degree temperatures. Like, yeah, I don't need little Junior out there sending it.
And yet you had classes all throughout the winter.
Yeah.
Practically.
Yeah. I had some in December and did one at bar to bar in December and here and there. So, yeah. But I haven't rescheduled it yet. I'm working on trying to do it the same weekend of the Inman MX Park, Kansas state race.
That's going to be a hard sell.
So it's up to the track guys.
Yeah.
It's not up to me. I mean, I'll come out and do like a 3-hour deal or whatever and try to get these people back. But we talked about doing it after the Saturday practice.
Yeah, that would be a really hard sell because they have to go out and prep the track.
Right.
Do you see all the sand they were putting in it too?
Yeah. It should be pretty cool. Chris Miller is the guy that runs it. Or he's
I don't know.
There's like 3
Okay.
guys in it, and he runs Miller Cycle Shop. I'll give a little plug for him. It's like a little beta dirt bike shop, I guess, in Inman,
Right on.
Kansas, or in Wichita, wherever. I don't know where it's out over there.
Where is Inman?
But it's out by Wichita, just east side of Wichita, somewhere.
Okay.
I don't know. I've never been there.
Chatting all very fun.
But anyways, he's my contact guy on this deal, and he's just super nice guy. So they hauled out some sand, and because their state race is in 2 weeks, and so I don't know what I'm gonna do about reschedule. I've got something in the works out that way here pretty soon, but I'm not really ready to talk about it yet. So it should be pretty
Okay,
cool.
so Inman is about 5/8 of the way between Salina and Wichita.
5/8.
5/8.
Seriously?
Well, it's a little
Seriously?
further than half. It would be inaccurate for me to say half.
5/8.
5/8.
Okay.
Okay, 5/8.
Closer, and it's on the northwest side of Wichita.
I could see you as a riding school teacher. You were 5/8 correct coming into that corner. Like you were a little more than halfway right, but not fully right. So I'm going to say you 5/8 entered that corner correctly.
Yeah.
And here I am. I'll just tell you, no, you did everything wrong. Do it again.
Do you guys?
No, just kidding.
Do you guys, in your teaching habits, teach a lot alike or different?
That's a really good question.
Well, I see. Scott's better at like making a connection with riders.
Okay.
And I would say that like my strong suit is fuck. What I don't want to say is I'm better at Scott than one thing because I'm not in the coaching game anymore. But let me say, instead of I'm better at Scott than this, I'll say what I was good at was picking up on the tiny little things that riders are doing wrong and helping them realize that.
In a non-personable way.
Yeah, 100% right.
essentially,
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
So it's like you're like the social studies teacher and you're like a PE coach.
Math. I'm more like math.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking PE as in like, Garrison, you suck.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, you don't get it, but let's work together. We're going to get this.
Yeah.
We're going to make this all come together.
So
Yeah.
to me, it's I break it down definitely like I develop a relationship with the rider. At least I try to. I try to find a connection with them. And so it just kind of depends. It's per rider, per thing. So Jeff is probably the most creative rider I've ever been around. It's like, if I want to go find a new line or whatever and Jeff's there, I'm going to go jump in behind Jeff and see where he's going.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
And a lot of times our lines aren't the same, but we'll end up in the same spot. It's kind of weird. Or we have the same... We end up with the same result, but we do it differently.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense.
And
or
see,
not.
that's the thing
And
about
so-
coaching is very similar to riding itself, because with coaching, there's more than one way to skin a cat, essentially. So he might do it front to back. I might do it back to front. But at the end of the day, as long as the rider comes away a better rider, that's all that matters. It's not about how you get the results. It's that you get the results that you're looking for.
Is there like one thing that you guys for sure disagree on? Like your twistiness of the throttle?
I don't think so.
No, a lot of we really, as far as overall technique is we would pretty much tell you the exact same thing.
Yeah. Which is however many, 5 times removed of the Gary Simic system, because Scott and I both grew up going to motocross classes that were originally based off of the Simic system. So, which is
like Night A?
Night A,
Yeah.
yeah. So, which is the 5 controls of the motorcycle: clutch, brake, throttle, shifter, rear brake.
Okay.
And coaching is so funny, and the more you work with a kid, obviously, the more you're going to be able to develop a relationship and break things down more compared to a one-time event. Mm-hmm. And also the skill of the rider makes such a difference on what you work on. I have kids that are super fast. I mean, I don't need to tell him elbows up, finger on the clutch, feet. They do that part. Yeah. So what I have to work on is up here. Hey, look where you're going, or look, hey, try this or try that, or you know what I mean? Or stop worrying about, what Junior got a new helmet over here or this or that or whatever, or who he went and won that race and you got 6th. Like, who cares about that? You have to work on other aspects of it. And that's the more you work with a kid, the more you develop that thing. And I mean, that's, I guess, I should say rider, not kid. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But it really just depends. And the where you are in the trainings, how your training is developed, let's say for that day or that weekend or that year, all of that matters too. Because if you were just doing a 1-day camp, and like this camp I canceled, it was mostly kind of beginner, novice level riders. Mm-hmm. And so that school is going to be completely different than what I do on a Wednesday night type training at Little Denmark or whatever, or if I've got more of an advanced group that shows up. And a lot of times, if I've got a mix of riders, I've got to split them up, and we do different stuff based on skill level or what they need to work on or this and that. So
I had a weird question when I was telling about you doing the school at my parents' track.
Yeah.
I somehow we got on the topic, but I said, they asked how do you find new people every time? And I said, there's a lot of people that come back. But if you teach, what am I trying to say? The question I got asked was, if they go to the school and they're taught, how much is there to teach? Why do they keep coming back if they teach the same thing every time? But I was trying to explain
because there's always something to work on. Even I need Jeff to coach me sometimes.
Think of, now as a pro there are rider. Times whenever, I could go to Scott and say, hey, will you watch me ride just for a couple minutes and tell me what I'm doing wrong? And 9 times out of 10, it's entry speed into corners, lack of aggressiveness, just stuff like that. And it's whenever you're out in your zone, and even if you're an extremely skilled rider, there's always room for improvement of see, I can go out on an oval and be I can beat Ryan Dungey on an oval. But if we go out onto the track, I might be really exceptional in one corner. And that's typically just based off of enthusiasm if I love that corner. But then the rest of the track, I might not be attacking, for whatever reason. Yeah. And then to just have someone who you have confidence in tell you, do this. Then you're like, oh, shit, okay. Why have I not been doing that? Okay, now there's 2 things I want to say. Is number 1, think about baseball players and football players. Okay. They have specialized coaches. They have pitching coaches, batting coaches, catching coaches. You go to, or drill coaches. You go to football. You're talking about, running backs have their own coach. Special teams, the kickers have their own coach. So, and their relationship never ends. You are always being coached 5 days a week. And then you go to the races or to the event, whatever it is, and then your coach is there too. Mm-hmm. So there's that. And then also, a lot of parents, think that they know what's best for their kid. And I would never tell them you don't. But what I tell them is whenever, all right, let's say you're my son and I tell you, you need,
Daddy?
Yeah. Junior, you need to hold it on longer into that corner. Okay, Dad, you need to, be more aggressive in this part of the track. Okay, Dad. Now, because you're not just the coach, you're also the authoritarian in their life. What they're hearing is pick up after yourself, clean your room, take out the trash, do your homework. Because it's not the same topic, it's that it comes from the same person. Enter the motocross coach. And that's where someone like Scott, who has a resume of Amsoil Arena Cross, fucking pro nationals for years, pro-am races for years, has been around, the country, trained, raced, practiced, did it all. That's where Scott, with his system, comes in and says, actually, let me work with your kid, and then Dad will be back, standing 10 feet behind and be like, well, yeah, that's what I said. But the difference is...
You took everything I was going to say right in this whole conversation you've gone on to is exactly what I was going to talk about.
But the thing is that Dad's saying it.
Yeah.
And whenever Dad is saying it, Junior doesn't care to hear that, because like I said, it's like being given orders to do his chores.
There's so many times where I will tell the same thing to a kid and he will go do it perfectly. And then there's times, and Dad will say, well, I told him we worked on that all day yesterday or whatever. And but he couldn't do it, couldn't figure it out. Well, it's because it came from Dad. I mean, because it's you, and that's all that matters when it comes to that. But, and the other part is it's developing relationships and this kind of thing. I can remember I rode all day at Grain Valley, raced or whatever, and it was like end of the day. I think I was still riding after the races, and like I was talking to your dad, and he said, "Just go jump the jump. Like, what are you doing, not jumping it?" I went out and jumped it the next lap I went around. Like, just because I thought Jerry was I still think Jerry's the coolest dude ever. You know what I mean?
He is.
Like, him and Jesse George are like the coolest dudes I've ever met in my life.
Hollywood.
Yeah, Hollywood.
Shout out Hollywood.
Yeah, shout out. Like, I still think you're super cool.
He got landed on gnarly.
Yeah, he
Arena
did.
Cross?
Yeah, that's why you
Who
don't
was it
ride
that landed
Arena
on him?
Cross.
I have no idea.
Jody something, the guy with the big dogs. I don't know his last name.
Mad Dog?
Oh, no.
No, Mad Dog.
Jody, number 2. Warren, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Pretty sure that was him. Anyways.
Yeah.
But, man, back to the coaching part. It's, for me, and Jeff does it totally. Jeff relates it to every action on the track. Okay, so here's the difference between us. Jeff relates, it doesn't matter who the rider is. It's what they're doing.
Okay.
And what they need to work on.
Okay.
For me, I try to develop the relationship so we can basically kind of go a little, why are you not doing it? And kind of go a little bit deeper into it instead of, hey, just this is what you're doing. So you and I are both putting our foot out at a different point, and he would break us down for why our foot is coming out at a different point. Instead of, hey, Mike, you need your foot, you need to set up back here for this reason and do it this way. Or you know what I mean? For you. And then I would go to Jeff and go a little bit further. Hey, because of how you position yourself on the bike, it's just different.
You could think of it as a difference between artist and technician. Probably.
Okay.
Yeah, it would probably be, because Scott is really good at like painting the picture. I'm good at 1 pixel. That's I isolate whatever that one thing is. I give you this, and it's this big. And if you can't do this right, then you're not going to do anything right. So I'm like a base level technique guy. Scott's, let me explain this whole this whole thing to you. Let me break it down so you understand A to Z. So there's different coaching techniques, and Scott is honestly probably a little more happy. you know.
So you take more like the Matt Walker approach.
Yeah. That's a lot like that, NT, and I'm
Okay.
not a fan of that at all.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, we both get results from riders.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing. I mean,
there's certain riders that respond better to your style.
Absolutely.
And there's certain riders that respond better to your
Yes,
style.
and absolutely. And that is the biggest part too, is developing your relationship. There's some guys that just, I'm not going to work with Matt Walker anymore because I don't like what he's doing. Or, I'm talking for instance.
Right, yeah.
And then there's people probably the same way with me. Like it doesn't work for me. So I'm going to Matt Walker, or I'm going to Jeff Crutcher, or whatever it is. And it really just depends. It depends on the kid, the rider, the adult, whoever it is. It depends on how many times they've heard it, who they're hearing it from, whatever. And okay, so if it's a kid I work with a lot, I have to find another way to make them do it. Hey, I'm taking your clutch lever off, or whatever. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I've told you all night long that stop using your clutch, or let out at this point, and you're not doing it, or you think you're doing it, you're not doing it. I'm taking the whole thing away, or whatever it is. You just have to find, or different drills or different things to do it. So
and that's one thing that Scott and I both are very critical about is you can't build a house on shitty concrete. Same thing with motocross racing. If you don't have the fundamentals down, now obviously the way that we teach the fundamentals is different.
Yeah.
But it's essential the same base. So without that solid base, you're not going to get everything else. Mm-hmm. You're not going to get the accolades. You're not going to get the contracts. You're not going to get,
you can be fast, but you're not going to be
right. You get your technique dialed in, and your speed will come. It just does. It just will, because you can control the bike so much better.
And the way that we do that is the simplest first corner exercise and circles, right? Figuring out what the correct body position is on the bike. Circles, and then braking and accelerating drills. And whenever I would do ovals, I really like doing it like a teardrop shape, where you've got one corner that's tight and then one corner that's a little bit bigger on the other end. And what that gives you is, you know what? I'm not going to totally give it away.
It just depends. Okay. So we can leave out whatever kind of drill it is.
Yeah. Okay.
You have to have a system for your beginner level riders, or somebody that's struggling with a technique, that makes you repeat it over and over and over until you break the technique. I mean, I did a motocross school before I ever had my first race, mainly because the first race got canceled or whatever. Yeah. But I think I worked with Shannon Ide in the mud at the Bomb before, it wasn't the Bomb. This was after that. But I mean, and I wanted to learn so bad. I would sit in front of the TV and watch Gary Simick's videos. I listened to every word Shannon said. I didn't have any idea who Shannon Ide was. He was a motocross coach, and that's all I knew. Yeah. He was going to teach me how to ride a dirt bike, and that's all that mattered. And so I listened and hung on to every word he told me, and basically all the way through my younger age of riding or whatever, I would do, you had one guy would travel through town and do a school here or there. Nobody did training. There was no MTF. There was none of that until we were pretty much in the A class already. Yeah. Was it 05 maybe? 04 is probably when MTF started. When did Davey turn pro? 06?
Yeah, right.
So
in
right
there,
in there is when MTF became something. And so all those years ahead of time, you would you would go to Motocross Action and find a schedule of Gary Simick schools or something. Right. And some guy would travel through town and go to Valley MX or Grain Valley Motocross, whatever, X2, whatever, EX379er. Yeah. And you go sign up and you
Did
do
I hear
2
a
days.
Niner in there?
Yeah, a Niner.
By the way, Super Troopers 2 is coming out. I don't know if you guys remember that. But anyways, it wasn't common. And my dad didn't know anything about racing, and he didn't ride or race, he rode, but he didn't race, And so I had to go find this information and basically teach myself, and Gary Simick's videos for hours. And YouTube wasn't even a thing. So it was VHS. I would steal Brad Stretz's VHS of Daytona. You know what I mean? I would borrow them for months at a time and watch them. You know what I mean? And so I watched that over and over and over and just drilled it into my head. And every school I went to, I listened to everything they had. And so that's what, and then now as I'm older, over the years, you just find your own way of doing it. But that's what gave me my foundation. And so doing these basic drills, no matter what kind of drill it is, even if it's just a starting technique, doing it over and over and over and drilling that into your foundation. And now a lot of your beginner novice riders, that's what they need. Sometimes you have a guy that already has that under control. you work on other stuff. You don't necessarily, hey, you're going to do corner drills, but you're only going to do them for 30 minutes or whatever because we're going to go on and work on this or work on that. Or, hey, today we're only going to do corner drills because you keep fucking up or whatever. You know what I mean? Whatever it is. And you just have to adjust that. But that's also part of developing a relationship and doing it more frequently. And that's like what I try to offer is even just like one day a week, you know, if we can, weather-wise or track-wise or whatever, because I don't have my own place of, hey, come out, let's coach you up. Each week we're going to work on something and just develop you, just like baseball practice once a week, twice a week or whatever, because we didn't have that. You might have had your dad, but then again, you know what I mean?
I had Nide as like my guy from a pretty young age because Shannon actually lived in Kansas City in Stillwell, and, you know, I'm from Belton, which was 5 miles apart. And I think Shannon moved there in like 99. So, dude, like my core group growing up was me, Chris Thies, Miles Asinger, Dennis Jonan. Like that was our group. Jonan came from Donnie Hansen. Me, Miles, and Chris were hardcore Nide guys. Mm-hmm. And so like it was like that. You watch Chris ride. Technique-based rider. Miles doesn't race anymore, but whenever he did, technique-based rider. Me, technique. Like that's I have some talent, but what I really have is technique at the end of the day. And that's what makes me good at riding a dirt bike. It's not my fucking like I run out of talent really quickly. Everything
drops, he's out. Yeah. Cardio in the same boat. Engaged.
Yeah. Practically, yeah. Because it's you know, think of like the first thing that comes to mind is like sword fighting. You know, it's like whenever you
not what you're thinking, not what you two were doing in the bathroom before I got here. Not that sword.
Sword fighting technique versus talent. Okay, all right.
I mean. Yeah, I mean that's how I get through it is resting on my technique, because whenever I go out, like I'm not gonna do some flashy scrub or whip or like some every once in a while I'll bust out some flash, right?
If you're feeling
like a tear
good.
off pull or something. Yeah.
Sometimes that's huge. As good as it gets.
Yeah, something real out there. But I mean, yeah, it's like if you watch video of me or watch me out on the track, number one, you can never hear my bike because I'm, you know, low RPMs, high gear.
You're riding a KDX.
Right, I'm riding a KDX 220. Stuff like that.
You know,
yeah. It looks like I go slow when I ride. But that's just because it was drilled into my head. And part of it, I got to say, was going and riding at Fight Club, a.k.a. S&S Cycle Park in Edwardsville, which was Luke Smith's track. Okay. Yeah. So the thing about going out there, especially with Nide, now, because Dave and Lonnie were such fucking assholes to their kids, it made...
to everyone? Not just to kids.
Well, to everyone. That's also what made the track good. Now,
gnarly is what it made it.
Because did you ever ride out there?
A couple times,
so here's what they would do. They would prep the track up, and they were good at prepping the track. Okay. So they would till it up real nice. They had good soil, and then they would water it, and then Luke, Scoop,
Dupe,
yeah, no, Bubba. Bird.
That's who I went with.
Mitch was always out there. Jonan, me, Thies.
The Kansas boy.
Yeah,
I mean, that crew, that little
it was like that Kansas
there.
side. The deal was you would go out and cut the main line in. And as soon as that line was cut in, you weren't allowed to ride it anymore. You had to step out to the next line. So no shit, Mike, every corner would be 8 to 10 ruts wide. Every corner. And then they would let the track get beat.
And when I like deathly, like
yeah.
You know,
like it was like
Okay.
So the track would get so beat up and you'd have all these ruts in every corner that were crisscrossing and, like Branson ruts going, coming out of corners and shit. Now, mind you, this is 2-stroke days, so they were actual ruts, not these point and shoot type deals.
Okay.
Yeah, they were.
So they had these big, long, flowing ruts all the way around the track and then these giant jumps, dude. Well, we were out there on 80s and 125s, and in order to make it over the jumps, you had to, finesse through those ruts. It was riding that kind of shit that taught me line choice, how imperative it is, and having Nide there and pointing, here's why you didn't do that. Here's why you didn't do that. And then my mom, she was really analytical, so she would pick up on she never rode a dirt bike in her life.
Yeah.
But she understood the method at which Shannon would teach us. And honestly, Dave and Lonnie were really good
at busting your balls until you
busting
did
your
it
bu-
right.
yeah,
until
yeah.
you did it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, they were dickheads, and they would make you be better. So, it's just little
He just
stuff.
leaves like that, and wait, what happens?
Yeah, thanks, Mike.
Yeah. You did it earlier.
Later. So, it's just little stuff like that where it's like, looking back now, the reason that I'm able to do what I do, like you were talking about how I have like these crazy lines,
Right. Well, they're not
really-
even that
not
crazy.
just-
It's just like, oh, wow, why didn't I think of that?
Right,
Usually
yeah.
is what it is.
It's because of riding tracks like that where, you essentially weren't allowed to take the good line.
Right.
And my dad like always stressed, on practice day, sure, you can go out and just bust out the fastest lap after lap after lap. But the thing is, you're not going to get better at riding the track. You're just going to get better at riding that one line.
Exactly. And that's what I try to work with so many of the kids, or just even mostly the riders I work with. I keep saying kids, but I really mean riders that I work with because that's what they want to do.
Yeah.
They just want to ride. And I get that. And we'll do that. You know what I mean? And you get to that point, but you've got to work on these fundamentals or this other stuff in order, to work on, hey, everyone, you can only go to the outside, or hey, you can only go to the inside, or whatever it is. And so you're absolutely right. That's exactly some of the things you have to do to get better. And that's how you see those lines. And that's the difference between a novice rider and a B rider, or even a B rider and an A rider. That's a lot of that is where you can make that difference, is when you're seeing different things like that on the track.
I think the biggest difference between A class and B class is not necessarily speed. It's really okay. See, like
execution.
Execution and comfort level.
Yeah.
Of executing that under stressful situations of being.
I feel like we're talking about Navy SEALs and stuff
Yeah.
right now, but we're just talking about your
I'm
local
just
A
trying
class.
to get to the comments because I can't see them.
of being 3 wide. You know, it's like if you, me, and Colin come into the same corner at, let's say Merwin, where you do start, you turn right, go up the hill, that right-hander, and then you go that really choppy left, and then over that. So like, there's always multiple lines there.
Right.
The 3 of us can go into that corner, balls deep, full throttle, and be comfortable. And it's not necessarily, if you take away the fact that we know each other and we're just out there 3A class, whenever you have money on the line, it changes your mentality over how willing you are to race close with somebody. Now, whenever you're racing for plastic, the risk to reward investment is very low.
Right.
Now, whenever you start putting hundreds of dollars on the line, that's whenever you're like, actually, no, I'm not going to fucking give this dude an inch.
Yeah.
I'm going to take an inch. And so
you drop the elbow a little bit, or you run a little extra wide than you normally would, that kind of deal. And now we do that to each other just on purpose because we hate
just
each
on
other.
principle.
But, principle. Ego, Yeah. But you're absolutely right. And now it's so funny because we're old guys in the A class. And so our mentality is even different on lap 7 than the 18-year-old kid that just moved up. He's going to come in wide open, revving, clutch pulled in, whatever, getting ready to take you out. And at that point for me, where I'm at, hey, go ahead. I don't need the $50 or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I got to go to work tomorrow. So go ahead, Junior, or whatever. Or you go fall down and I'll pass you in the next one, that kind of deal. You know what I mean?
How do you think all the young kids in the A class, was that the A class you whole shot at bar to bar at the Loretta Lynn qualifier?
I did all,
How do you think
like
all the
3
young
out of
kids were
4
like
whole shots.
when they got back to the pits? Their dad was like, Ronnie Ford got the whole shot on you.
It happens.
That just happened.
Well, it's
Not only that, he
happens.
looked over at his buddy and was like,
And that was to John Paul. I
Never
gave
mind.
him the one.
Yeah,
the one.
got
That's because that's all I had. Because
That was
by
it.
the end of that first lap, I was gassed.
Yeah.
I was totally shot. Heart rate at 200 for a minute and a half, and
Yeah.
that was go around, guys. I'm hanging on for dear life at that point.
But it's fun to be that guy too, of being like the cagey vet rider that, it's like, yeah, you know what, motherfucker, I still know how to do this and you can't take it away from me. And I'm going to go out here and I'm going to show you guys how fucking big my dick is. And you're going to have to suck on it for 2 laps until my tongue is caught in the front wheel.
How much roost can dude, I can ride the widest bike you've seen this side of the Missouri River. You know
Both
what I
feet
mean?
straight
Like,
out.
Yeah.
Basically. But I mean, that's the part of it too. Is like, hey, I'm going to go get in your way for as long as I possibly can.
And I'm gonna get off on it.
And I don't care how mad you are. I'm going to hear you revving it and screaming, and I'm just going to be laughing until I lose my lungs and all, until I need to pull over and get oxygen. You know what I mean?
But I mean, it's a tactic that works too. And it's so funny because whenever you are the teenager in the A class on your way up, and dude, I learned this lesson the hard way. I mean, I could sit here and pull up my laundry list of all of the riders that I ran into whenever I was 15, 16, 17 years old.
And you fell down?
And I fell down. Yeah, because I was racing guys that were like Chris Ritter, what's Carl's last name?
Hansen.
Carl Hansen, Rusty Scheiderle,
Andy
Boyer, Casey McDowell, Nick Peterson, Brian Doug Stone,
David Fry. I guess he was your age.
Well,
though.
I mean,
He
no,
was-
David's a couple years older than I am. Wes Parr.
We're the same age.
I mean, Jason and Travis Merrill. I mean, these guys are 5-10 years my senior, and so like, yeah, whenever I was a teenager and I was the new hot shoe coming in, it fucking sucked, dude. Because number one, you got a target on your back being the new guy, and number two, you're smaller than everybody else.
Well, the other part was you were 14. You know what I mean? Okay, and the other part is I just lost my thought. How does that work?
I'll finish it for you. So whenever,
Well, no, hold on. I remember now. I remember.
Okay.
All those guys were at the same race.
Yeah.
You know what? You just listed off 15 guys that were always at the same race that you were at. Okay, sorry.
That was even whenever the Missouri payout wasn't. I mean, it was lucky if it was $2,000 purse.
So, okay, so funny that you would mention that, because not on a pro level, but the gnarliest takeout that I've ever had done on me was at a vintage race.
Yeah.
And I was riding, I was a kid, but I was riding my dad's 250 Mako. And I passed this guy, and his name was Tom Doherty. He used to ride the Nationals back in the 70s.
I know who Tom Doherty is.
Okay, well, the next
don't.
turn, he hit me so hard, it took me out. Not only did it bend my bars, ripped my visor off, he turned back and looked at me and gave me the good try.
Yeah.
Then after the race, he came up and said, "Sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the ground. That's just how we did it at the Nationals." And I was like, who is this old dude? He was I looked like he was 70 at that time, and I was probably 13, and I was like, what just
barely
happened?
big enough to ride the bike you
But
were
that's
on.
the only real takeout.
Yeah.
I mean, I was taken out here and there, but that was the only real takeout that I was like, whoa, what just
Yeah.
happened? And
So-
it was that guy.
What you had, that was pro level dick that you got laid on.
Yeah.
you.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, see, and that's the thing is those are what you had happen to you doesn't happen. Yeah, I mean,
That happens on purpose.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
what he's
yeah.
saying.
That was a calculated move.
Oh, yeah, and he let me know that.
Yeah.
And
he was
so
like, "Hey, punk
I
kid."
learned more in my first A race where I got smoked. I mean, smoked at the Moberly State race or something.
It's funny. My first A class race was at Moberly
So,
too.
so I got hurt
Yeah.
in 07 and I was out until 2010. I came back and rode one race and got beat probably by you and a couple of guys that would never have ever beat me. But obviously I had been off the bike and
What
not
does he
really
mean by
riding
that?
for 3 years.
Was he trying to say that I would never have beaten him? Is that what he's trying to say?
That was
very nice.
quite the comment.
That was.
Let's see. The rude meter is bing, 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 rude.
I was a total dick. I was just giving
Anyway,
him a dick.
go on.
Anyways, because I can't give him that. I don't know the last time I beat Jeff. It's been a while. It's frustrating.
Well,
You know.
it happens
'Cause
sometimes.
yeah, it happened. It's
beat him at Casey
happened
Moto, didn't you?
before, probably
At the state race?
I don't know. It didn't.
When I was announcing with
I don't
JC
know.
in the lift, no? Okay.
Maybe in plus 25 if he started backwards.
No.
I don't know.
The last time that I can remember you beating me was at the Carthage
I laid it down. That weekend was
Yeah.
my weekend. I
Yeah.
got like a third and to the goalies
the
or
dash for
something.
cash.
Oh yeah.
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 You lost it in the last corner
Yeah. Lost it in the last turn. I got moved out of the way
by a goalie.
by a goalie. I don't know which one because even to this day I don't know which one's which.
And they would never tell you.
No, and it's terrible. I mean, I've known them as long as I've known you, and I don't know which one.
So anyway.
So anyways,
Yeah.
so I was off the bike for a few years, came back, raced that race, got my ass handed to me in like big bike open, and then went like 2 weeks later and went and moved up to A at Moberly. And I don't know why. I don't know. Because why not? Probably because you told me to, or you bullied me into it. He probably peer
That's what I
pressure.
do.
But anyways, no, I was like, why just go ahead and move up? Everybody I had raced with up until when I got hurt was in the A class or whatever. And so I moved up to A, and I'm telling you, the first lap of my first A race, I learned more than I probably did in 3 years of riding.
I wish that I could take that right there, what you just said, and loop it
To
over the PA at the motocross track and be like, hey, motherfuckers, you want to get fast? You want to be an expert, right? You know, like you want to be
fast.
Now,
Yeah.
if you want to be good on a dirt bike, you got to move up to A class.
And I'm not even kidding you. The first lap, the first two turns at Moberly, that hard right and left, I was like, you know what I mean? Like, what is going on here? Everything happened twice as fast. The intensity level, which I mean, yeah, anytime you're behind a gate, the intensity level. But I mean, by the time we got to the first turn, it was still wide open. Nobody was skipping a beat on anything. And I mean, I was literally scared for the first couple of laps until everyone just started walking away from me.
Again, money on the line.
Right.
Yeah.
But by the end of the year, I was running top five
in the
battle.
mix,
I was in the mix. I got in shape, you know what I mean? And I had put a lot of hours on the bike, and I was in the mix by the end of the year. And just because I had no other choice but to elevate my riding and just be an A rider. I had to learn that I belonged after basically, and once I figured out what I needed to do to belong, it just started happening.
I think someone that could attest to that, Colin, could say, you know, the same exact thing. Adrian, Kevin, I mean, both of those guys are recent, you know, A riders, and both of them could say, I mean, yeah, Adrian could go out and whip everybody's ass in the B class every weekend, and then he moves up to the A class, and like, he's got it's okay. If Adrian and I go ride, whatever, he's going to fucking walk all over me. I mean, he's going to lay lap times that are going to make me look ridiculous. I get a good start though. And it's like, he has to work to get around me.
Nothing is easy when you move A.
No,
the roost hurts more. It's coming at you faster.
Yeah.
There's a lot more of it because usually you're behind more guys because they're doing it better than you are. And it is work. And if you fuck up, you fall down, you miss a gear, whatever, can't hit the triple, whatever it is, you're fucking 2 seconds behind already. Like you are already riding with basically like a flat tire. You know what I mean?
Tomorrow I'm going to do that.
Yeah. Ride with the flat tire?
250B to the line for your race. By the way, you guys should all be riding A, but hey, that's none of my business. 250B should be A riders. You guys are on the line now.
Let's just go ahead and move up this weekend, pussies.
Yeah.
And some of those
to the
kids
line.
belong there, and some of them don't. There's a curve in there, and a lot of that I think is age too.
Yeah.
14 to me is too young to ride the A class.
I was huge at 14.
You
though.
were too big,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying, in general, usually you're just not mentally ready to race an adult man that has a mortgage or whatever. You know what I mean? It's just different, and you're mature. For one, I don't want to race with a 14-year-old because that dude's going to come wide open, miss the turn, miss his brakes, and T-bone me.
Yeah.
When I'm going and hitting this apex perfectly, like there's a coach watching me do it. You know what I mean? And so I don't know. I mean that's
I learned.
I think there's a boundary in there, but a lot of those kids can move up and they will benefit from it.
I learned, and that's the thing is like, I knew. Okay, I had a factory KTM ride. You know, an amateur support ride, but it was directly from KTM. I got bikes given to me for $500 a piece. I had parts allowance, I had free gear, free everything. My fucking dad, you know, we had the motorhome and the trailer and the golf cart and 5 bikes and, you know, the pit bike. And we were going at the races all the time. Dude, I had a factory ride, as factory as it can get. But.
And now you're borrowing Nick Peterson's.
Right, yeah. Funny how that works, yeah. My, how the tables have turned. But, you know, it didn't. Then, even though I was in the B, okay. So I went 2002, I was riding the C class. At the end of 2002, I went to, I did Branson. And then a month later, I moved up and did my first B race at Mini-O's. That was my first race in the B class. And I went from second place in the novice class at Branson behind Jonathan Camp or Jimmy Albertson, depending on which class we're in, to fourth place in schoolboy and top 5 in 125B. So obviously, I had the speed young. I got hurt at. Yeah, nice. Yep. See, there it is.
I thought I had it on silent. My bad. I don't know what I'm doing.
So I went from that to riding the B class, went to Mini-O's. I got 5th in schoolboy on Supercross. And I'm not a Supercross guy. And then in schoolboy mod, ate my brains big time. And that was the worst concussion I think I've ever had on the Supercross track. Ate it big time. Broke my hand, took like a month and a half off, came back, rode the B class I went to a race in Arkansas, and then there was a race in Oklahoma at Reynolds that I raced in the B class. And it was like the Oklahoma warm-up race. And then
Sooner State Cycle Park. Yeah.
And so I raced the B class like 4 times. And I did Lake Whitney in the B class one year.
Anadarko. You rode the B class at Anadarko.
Okay. Yeah. So there you go. That's
sick.
it. Yeah. There's my list of B class races. I can name them on less than
I can't do
both
that.
my hands. So, but the thing was, so I was in the B class, and instead of doing the thing that parents do now, where it was like, look at the stopwatch. Man, if Junior was riding the A class, he'd be top 5. For me, it was, look at the stopwatch. Holy fuck, I need to be riding the A class. Mm-hmm. So then I went to Salem, Illinois on a Saturday for a Loretta qualifier. And I don't remember who I was just telling this to, Peyton Adams, I think. On day, Moto 1, got a dead last start. And the track was single file, so I got like 32nd. There was 40 guys. Moto number 2, because it was a mud race. Moto 2, lost my seat on the first lap. Moto 3, got a good start, was in 3rd place, and I was like, just going nuts, and got off the track a little bit, and they had scraped mud off of the track. Yep. Boom, straight into a mud pile, flipped over the bars, couldn't get my bike out of the mud.
Welcome to the A class.
Welcome to the A class. Moto 4, go out and get like a mid-pack start, and I was just so frazzled from the day, I just got like 20th or whatever.
Just faded, hard faded, yeah.
Then went to Moberly the next day for the Pro-Am, and same exact type situations, wadded my brains out next to Adam Zarda, couldn't get a start, and I was like, wow, I can't believe what another level, because when I was riding the B class locally, if I did a local race, I'd go and I'd win.
Yeah, and you were used to win, okay, cool.
And then I go and ride the A class, and it's a whole new world.
And even you're getting beat by dudes I got him covered. And then he gets a better start than you, and you have to fight for that. You know what I mean? Or even he's on your ass at the end of the moto.
Yeah.
You're not. There's no breaks. There's no you're not, unless you're really good. You're not gapping anybody. You know what I mean?
And then it was kind of like a drug. It was like, oh, this is the new level. But the thing is I knew from a young age, and my dad and I talked about this, and my dad was very listen, when you move up to the A class, this is going to be your thing. You're going to run your own program. I'll help you as much as I can, but whenever you can drive, buddy, it's all on you.
Yeah.
So for 2 years, I had, I was helping pay for stuff, but then the day I turned 16, dude, bikes where I paid for bikes, I paid for parts, I paid for fuel, I paid for race entries, I paid for my family to get in the gate, and that's at 16. And I was paying for all that out of my race winnings, and at the time I was getting double contingency from Suzuki. So, I mean, yeah, dude, I mean, there was around like 30, 40, 50, 60 grand, you know, off of contingency, pro purses. And that's including all of the free shit that I got. Because, dude, I mean, there was a year where I had like a $4,000 parts allowance with Maxima. I still have cans of Maxima WD-40 or whatever their lube is from 2005. So, but I knew.
But that was your job.
Right. No, that was
that
the thing.
was
That
your
was
9
my
to
job.
5.
Right,
That was it. Yeah.
So the thing is I knew, I was like, I know that I'm really fast, but I'm not fast enough to make it. And knowing that, now some people would be like, man, that sure is the wrong way to think. No, it's the right way to think, because I knew I'm not going to land a factory contract. Mitch Payton is not knocking on my door, you know? So what I did was I said, well, fuck it, I'm going to make money while I can. And then if I want to go race pro nationals, I'm going to have to pay for it. And if I go to the pro nationals and prove myself, yeah, hey, maybe I can get picked up by a satellite team. But when it ended up happening, I went to the pro nationals and I sucked a dick. So
a long dick of the pro class.
Right. Yeah. So, and I mean,
because that's a whole nother level in itself.
Or look at like Chris Thies. Chris is a far better rider than I am. Went to his first pro national, pulled a whole shot in his first moto. And I mean,
He did?
yeah, Chris pulled the whole shot
on his own bike.
On his own RMZ 250 in 2009.
I did not know that.
At Colorado, yep. Moto 1 pulled the whole shot.
674.
That's right. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
He got 33rd in that moto.
But he got the whole shot.
He got the whole shot.
He was young too. Like you,
He was
wasn't
16. Yeah, he was 16
he
years
was
old.
young too.
But now, just and like in Chris's case, imagine if he would have stayed in the B class until he was 18 to try to get that contract. But bro, straight up, if you're riding the B class at 18, it's over. Like if you're riding B at 18, you're not going to be a factory racer.
Unless you're John Dowd.
Who
Jeremy
didn't even ride a
McGrath.
dirt bike until he was 21.
Yeah, right. Which rare occasion.
Hold on,
okay.
there you go. There's one example, one guy that has ever
one.
Yeah, one.
But you have to grow up in a junkyard.
That's
riding
right.
your dirt bike around broken down cars.
That's the only way to
At
do
the
it.
age of
Over the
21.
top.
Now that'll make you tough.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that'll
That
give you
dude's
some
just tough, anyways. But
So, yeah, my not to let me
Go
so
for it.
my point is, there are many paths, and none of them are failures. Okay, that's very hard for parents and riders alike to wrap their minds around. Is everyone in life? Okay, it's like at my job at FedEx, I love my job. Now, are there other things that I could do that would make me more money? Yeah, sure. But am I unsatisfied that I'm not making, absolute top dollar? No. Because my life, my path has been so good. And within that, motocross was within it. And if you magnify just the motocross, same exact thing. If I look back, oh man, I wish I wouldn't have broken my leg when I was 15, or oh man, I wish, this, that, or the other. I wish I wouldn't have gotten that free suspension from that guy in California on my Kawasaki's, stuff like that. And it's like, just because I didn't make it as a pro rider doesn't mean that I haven't had a successful hobby of racing motorcycles. And there are children and parents that need to hear that like, if your kid is not Ricky Carmichael, and let me just go ahead and say, your kid's not going to be Ricky Carmichael, or let's see, now we would say
Austin.
Well, yeah, let's move on. I mean, because it's James Stewart, Chad Reed, Ken Roxon. Your kid's not going to be Ken Roxon. Okay. He's not going to be the next one to sign the factory contract. Now, obviously, I could say that to 5,000 different people, and the odds of me being right are 400 or 4,990, right? So the point is, I can say that by and large, and it be a blanket statement that's going to work for most people. And that's all right. But parents don't want to hear that. No. My kid's going to live the dream.
The same with Little League or football.
Oh yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever.
It's
just the same thing.
It's sports.
Yeah,
You know,
sports.
it's sports, and that's fine, and I get it, and I love it whenever people have the dream of making it. But I want riders to understand that if you're not the fastest guy at the track, there's nothing to be ashamed of. You're not a failure.
Have fun,
Dude. Yeah,
I am almost 30, and I'm having the most fun and riding the best I probably ever had, maybe since I was like 15.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm faster. I ride better. I'm more controlled. I have more fun now, and I've been doing this for 18 years. You know, I'm in my 18th year of doing this, and it's kind of like you said. Everybody has their path. Some kids are going to make it. There's a chance. Not a whole lot of kids are, you know what I mean? It's possible. It's out there, but you got to have some money and you got to make the investment. You know what I mean? The level has changed from when you and I were doing it.
Oh yeah, majorly,
MTF, GPF, Moto X Compound, whatever. That has the level has raised just like it has in Little League or whatever. But it takes a lot of money to do that. And I mean, I had 4 bikes at one time, a motorhome, the whole deal. That I had a factory ride from Dad. Dad, you know, I think Dad's probably still paying for some of it. Mom and Dad, you know what I mean? Like, you probably still are. And
Shout out the Lions Man.
Yeah, the Lions Man hair salon. But I mean, it just there's no wrong way to do it. One of the biggest things I preach in my training with my kids is doing their homework, doing the schoolwork. And like they have to turn in grades if they're on my Wednesday, if they're on my weekly program. They have to turn in their grades once a month, whenever I feel like it. And if they aren't there, we get to talk about it, and he doesn't get to come to the next training session until they're up. Yeah. Or they have to send me a letter from their teacher or whatever because they need that. Just like you have a technique background in your writing, you've got to have that structure behind you. And I tell them over and over, and I hope kids are listening or parents are listening or whatever, like this better you do in school, the better you're going to be on your dirt bike. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I fully believe that because I went through, all the way through college and everything. And it's just an alternate route, and it's not good or bad or whatever. It's just everybody has their own way of doing it, but have fun doing it. Don't kill yourself. Don't lose your house because you're trying to get junior to the next level. You know, if it works out, it works out. The cards will fall into place, but don't totally like you're lucky your dad kind of had X2 to get to fun.
See, that's the thing. Is
you know what I mean?
Grain Valley paid for my motorcycle racing. If it wasn't for Grain Valley, Jeff would have been just a local rider. You know, I mean, sure, we could have gone to Oklahoma and Iowa and Kansas and shit like that, but because of the racetrack, because my dad opened a fucking second business on top of having a full-time 40-hour-a-week supervisory job. Yeah. That's what paid for it.
And that's my dad worked. He missed more races than I can count because he was working so I could go racing.
Yeah.
And that bothers me to today because I don't have a ton of pictures with my dad at the starting line or whatever. Just like, because I was hoping Jerry would, hey, will you come over? We didn't have a whole shot device or whatever. Will you hold my bike or pack my gate or whatever? Because hey, Dad's at work, Mom brought me, you know what I mean? And she's over there with the video camera or whatever, and that's how we did it. And I mean, so that's a big part for me. You hear some of these pro guys, Jake Weimer, his dad sold their farm so he could go make it. Jake made it. Yeah. You know what I mean? And he was able to buy his dad's farm back, which is crazy. Yeah. But I mean, that doesn't happen. There's so many other routes to go. And the biggest thing is just have fun with it. Yeah. And like at the point I'm at now, I don't go to every Missouri State race. I don't go to every local practice or whatever because...
This is kind of getting off topic, but do you ever feel guilty for not going to Missouri State races?
Right now, you mean? No, not at all.
Dude, every weekend, I'm like, I feel terrible that I'm not there.
I don't feel that way at all because
because it's something that I have been a part of for so long, and it's something that I enjoy. And dude, I mean, like, I still get fucked up in the head. Like every March, I'm like, all right, man, most state seasons are right around the corner. Let's go get that championship. I still have that in my head.
Well, you do have like a dozen of them, so
yeah.
So I understand.
Jack Lambert's all-time Missouri State champion.
Is he?
Yeah, and then Jim. I thought that Jimmy and I were tied because. He's got like 12 and I have 10. I thought that we were tied, but we discussed it. He's got a couple more than me. Well, anyway, so we're like, it's like Jack, Jimmy, me. Okay. Now, it's something that I did for so long and was such like a part of, and it's something that like I am about the Missouri State Series. I am about like that hardcore weekend warrior following of a series because of what it got me of my best friends, my relationship with my family, my extended family, all of the places that I've been, the memories, all that stuff. If you're not going and racing the Missouri State Series, you're not getting that same thing. Now, obviously, I'm not like, this is the way to do it. You have to do it this way. But it's like now whenever, I feel bad because, like right now, my bike's in pieces and I can't race. I didn't go to Bill's race. I'm not going to RJ's race. I didn't go to Tony's at Riverside. I didn't go to bar to bar for the Loretta qualifier. Those are all races that I would have been at if my bike wasn't apart. And it's like, I'm just sitting around. I'm like, dude, I feel like I'm so hypocritical where I'm telling people, go to the races, race. This is awesome. You got to go to the races, build the entries, be part of the system, be part of the series. And then I'm sitting at home twiddling my thumbs. And it's like, I don't want people to think that I'm just like talking out of one side of my mouth.
I see. And for me, like where I'm at now, I did all that. We did the Missouri State Series forever. For years.
Yeah.
And
from 2002 to 2010.
2000.
Okay, yeah. So a solid 10 years.
Yeah, and then probably a couple years after I came back, and like I'm to the point now where like, okay, I've done that, and that's just where I'm at now. So I pick and choose. I don't race as much anymore. I don't ever win anything. You know what I mean? I don't win anymore. And like, so when I go to the races, like I'm watching these kids I work with. When I see a kid that I work with do well, that makes me feel like I'm doing well. You know what I mean? Like that kid wins. Like, oh, dude, yes, I'm stoked. Like it makes me feel like I want them because I don't win anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's very few and far between. And I don't know. And for me, I want to go places where I want to go, whether. And so I go where maybe the dirt's a little better here, or it's a track that I haven't been to. The weather's nice. Yes, absolutely. And so I'm a little more picky now than probably I used to be. But just like Jeff said, friendships, relationships, with all of that came from racing the Missouri State Series. Absolutely, 100%. I still am in. Look, you guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And and my parents are still friends with people that we raced with or whatever. I mean, the Arnolds. You know what I mean? My parents still go to dinner with them and whatnot. You know what I mean? And it's kind of crazy. And if you get out of it for a couple years, and you were in this, we've all been in this boat before. You come back, it's almost like you're the stranger guy. Yeah. And you're the weird guy or whatever that you don't know anybody there, so you feel uncomfortable until you get back into it again. But I totally think the Missouri State Series, or just any state series, I don't care if you're in Nebraska or Oklahoma or whatever, doing your local series is what builds your foundation and keeps you going. When I was younger, it was race every weekend. Race every weekend, anywhere you could go. Missouri State race or Texas or whatever it was, you raced every weekend. And that was what made the difference for me to get faster.
Every Wednesday night, Kingsville prep practice.
It was Grain Valley.
Or Grain Valley.
Yeah. This last year, it was Thursday nights at Kingsville. Yeah.
Okay, Thursday night.
But yeah, it used to be Wednesdays when Jerry would put it on.
Jerry, well, maybe.
If it rained Sunday or Monday, you knew you were riding Valley Wednesday.
Yeah, that's true.
And it was going to be sick. Yeah.
That is very true.
And you left, so you missed us talking about your old man again, but that's fine. Well, he's cooler than you are, so that's
way
fine.
Cooler than I'll ever be.
But I mean, racing the local races is where you build your foundation and where you get it. It's where you build your relationships, and it's where you learn, especially if you're new at it. I definitely support. I mean, John Paul Powell is putting together probably the biggest thing Kansas State Series has seen in years, trying to rebuild the series and develop it and bring more riders to the plate. Whether the track's good or not or whatever it is, I don't know. A bunch of those tracks I've never been to, but he's putting the effort out there to try to build it, bring in some outside sponsors or just something cooler for the riders. And I think that's pretty cool.
And just like all generations do of looking back on yesteryear, it hurts my feelings to see the incentive taken away from getting your licks in at local racing and earning your stripes at local races And now kids go from, okay, I was a local racer on mini bikes to now I live at X, Y, or Z training facility. And I go to the 7 big nationals and then I go pro.
Yeah. No, I see.
That has become, that's the route. And that's people taking out a second mortgage or whatever, or to send Junior down there and live in his motorhome so he can go do it.
And the problem with that is, I mean, there's a lot of problems, but the thing that people don't realize is, I see this a lot with RC car racing too, in the sense of Friday night at Kingsville used to be 150 guys on a rough night.
Yeah.
Now with these kids taking this route, well, hey, we're not going to race every week. Instead, like you say, we're going to go to the training facility and we're going to go just run these nationals. Well, now your local tracks are suffering big time.
Yeah.
And for the guys that do want to be just, weekend warriors or whatever, and they're not worried about being Ricky Carmichael, whatever, the tracks are disappearing. And tracks are suffering big time from it, from a local race point.
And a lot of that, I think, is geographic. You know what I mean, as well.
It's a very complex problem, and it's hard to. What you're saying is valid. Yes. That is 100%. A large portion of the pie. Now the pie has 17 different slices in it.
Yes,
and this is something that I can't stand about reading on like Vital or any message boards. Is everybody has a paintbrush. And they think that their simple stroke, if people would only do this one thing, I could solve motocross. And same thing in like politics. Everybody's got the solutions to the cure. If we did this one thing, then everything would go back to the way it was. Which, I mean, A, everything's never going to go back to the way it was, and B, it is a complex problem. And much of it is completely out of the control of motocross and has to do with new societal norms of increased, not demand, but focus on safety. And the helicopter parent generation, there's no fucking way they're going to strap their kid to a rocket with 2 wheels on it.
Well, you're seeing that even in football now because of CTE and the concussion issue and that. I mean, you're seeing it at little league sport level, even in the football is suffering, which no one would ever think that football is going to suffer. But I don't know. I mean, that's part of it. I mean, there's so many pieces of it.
Okay, and again, that's another little slice.
It also depends on where you're at on the map. And the map of the United States, it all depends. You go to Southern California, you got... Everybody owns a dirt bike. You know what I mean? You go to Dallas, you get a pick each day of the week. You have choices of where you want to ride, what track you want to go to, and they're all kick ass. You come here to Kansas City,
you're going to Oakland.
You're going to Oakland. You might go to, Kingsville if it rains on Tuesday. It used to be if it rained on Sunday or Monday, you rode Valley Wednesday, and it was the sickest place you could go. But now it's not there. It's not there. It's not, I mean, Casey Moto operates only during their races right now.
Practically,
Midwest Extreme Park, only
race weekends.
Race weekends. I mean, that's pretty much what it's come down to. And part of it is the cost of running an event. I mean, any kind of event anyways. But it's just not... in this area, you would think, okay, there's 7 public tracks that people are riding and you can ride it and that are pretty kick-ass. And nobody's ever open. I see it on Facebook all the time.
Where's there to ride today?
Where's there to ride today? Where's there to ride today? The demand is there, and it as far as people looking for places to ride, and there's nowhere to go unless you're driving an hour and a half to Oakland, or you're driving 4 hours,
riding area,
4 hours to somewhere else. You know what I mean? Like if it's cold, you're driving south anyways. But I mean, the options aren't there. I feel bad for the guys in Minnesota, sort of, because 6 months out of the year it's cold. Just like right now, they should be riding and they're not.
Yeah, but the other 6 months out of the year, every track is packed out with hundreds of riders.
Yes, packed all the there, and there's a bunch of choice, and they're open all. I mean, Meadow Valley's open every day.
Yep.
You know what I mean? The places like that.
Practice tracks.
Oh yeah.
Practice track. There's practice tracks. Sandy Corners.
Oh, perfect
practice
example,
track.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that's not here. We have private tracks, and you gotta your house. You gotta be in to. You know what I mean? You kind of gotta be on the end to go ride somewhere. And sometimes we go ride your house, and like, man, this kind of sucks, but it's riding. You know what I mean? Because it's hard pack, it's dusty, hasn't been worked on, or whatever. And man, I gotta go buy $200 worth of tires after this. $300 worth of tires now, I think. But I mean, you know what I'm saying? But like, and that's the hard part about it. Like I would say around this area, if you don't have a private track to go ride, which there's dozens of them to pick from, and now one just got shut down, which is a total bummer. But like, I mean, if you don't have that, you're not riding. I was talking to Chris Rubel on the phone today about going riding somewhere tomorrow where it's somewhat warmer. And I was like, man, I am officially a weekend warrior right now. I'm not riding it is obviously the weather is a big part of it. But I mean, like Thursday night, I worked too late. There was no way I was getting home to get my stuff and then drive an hour and a half to go ride Oakland because it was the only place anybody was going to ride. You know what I mean? Or, you know, XYZ's house couldn't ride because equipment was broke or what, you know what I mean? Whatever it is. And it's what do? You go to Dallas.
God save us, Alta.
Go to Oklahoma City. You know what I mean? There's 3 or 4 tracks to pick from just right, you know, in Oklahoma even. But I mean, man, I feel bad for the guys in Joplin, Springfield, Boot Hill down in Cape Girardeau.
Yeah.
You know, even St. Louis. Where's anybody other than a private track? Maybe.
Well, you notice that there's no motocross races that come out of it, only woods racers. And it's, I mean.
Vince Freeze.
Yeah, Vince Freeze.
Yeah, but he went to MTF as a
he
child.
did.
Basically.
There are a lot, and see, like I was just talking about Harrison Helmick that lives off 127th and Flum. Just met him last year, like I was saying earlier.
That's crazy. Yeah.
And I mean, there are so many people that ride in the woods around here. I mean, woods races are bigger than motocross.
Okay,
now.
but here, tell me this: other than Oakland, where are you riding in the woods at?
People's property.
I mean, yeah, just somebody's got a farm or whatever. Yeah. Okay. So, private riding area.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Now here's the thing about woods riding. Is all right. Let's take John Christopher's for example.
Yeah.
Let's say you and me are burning laps out on the motocross track. You can hear it. All right. Now let's say Mike's sitting on the other side of the creek in the pit area. He can hear it the entire time that we're riding.
Right.
Now, as soon as we cut off into the woods loop, you can't hear the bikes anymore.
Right.
So that's a major difference between woods riding and motocross is you can ride woods and it not be that large of a disturbance. Plus, you're treading over leaves and soft dirt and down to trees.
And you're not racing. You're not over revving the bike, and you're not trying to be the next Ricky Carmichael.
And you're not kicking up dust.
Yeah.
Dust and noise are the top 2 reasons that motocross tracks get shut down.
I could say this from working at Dell's, even 4-wheeler guys, or a guy goes and buys a side-by-side. Man, where can I just spent $15,000 on a side-by-side. Now, where can I go ride it at?
You got to take it to.
What, you going to drive to Columbia?
Or,
you know what
Clinton.
I mean? Or drive to Clinton to Deepwater? I mean, you got to drive 2 hours to go ride somewhere. You know what I mean? Or it's the Sand Dunes. You got to drive to Winoka. You know what I mean? And some of those guys, that's all they do with it. But guys like us that want to ride or want to be involved, what do you do? You know what I mean? And luckily, we've been in it long enough. We usually get the call to go ride the private track, or hey, we're riding today. You get the text, and I feel, well, for the guy that doesn't get it, where do you go? You know what I mean? I think what somebody said on their private tracks are killing it. Yeah, they are if you have the in to do it, or if you have your own place. I mean, I used to have a track at my parents' house. It was super basically a turn track. Yeah. But that's what I would go ride for hours. And then my dad tore it out and made me get rid of it because the neighbors complained about noise. You know what I mean? And so, well, okay then.
I think private tracks are killing local tracks, public tracks.
They have to be open. But they wouldn't be if they were open.
A chicken or the egg thing.
No,
I think.
I disagree.
Well, okay.
I guess how many times have we went and rode a private track
while there was a public track having practice?
Open? Yeah.
And this is, again, another slice of the pie of the complex problem. Right. Now,
there's so many pieces of pie. How are we going to hit them all?
Most guys, I mean, if you're using common sense, if you can go to Reed's track and it's prepped just as good as Kingsville, Grain Valley, whatever, but it's free.
Yeah. Or even if I pay $20, to help pay for the fuel and the watering time, and then I get to go out and burn unlimited laps on my schedule.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's where I feel like
There's
killing
times
it.
I
And
choose that over it. Yeah, absolutely.
It's not, they're not killing it intentionally, like in that sense, but just as a rider, if you're looking for quality ride time and you're like, hey, I can go here and like you're saying,
Yeah.
get some quality ride time in. I can ride as much as I want, whenever I want, whoever I want to
Okay.
ride with.
But they're still not open. And I'm talking here, Kansas City. I'm not talking Dallas, Oklahoma,
okay,
whatever.
okay.
I'm talking Kansas City.
I'm playing devil's advocate here. Of the last 6 practices Kingsville had, which one did you go to?
None.
I didn't have a bike.
Well, okay. Well,
Yeah. I would have been at every one of them.
Now,
I
now
guess
last
personally.
year,
Yeah.
this year. If you went last year,
Okay.
every single one of them, I was there.
Okay,
every Thursday night.
Let's
you knew
back
you
up
were
and
going.
say last Valley practice yet that you went to. When was it?
2002. 2000. When did your dad own it? When did Tracy run it last?
The last time that
07?
you've been there since Brian has had it.
We went once.
Oh,
in,
that's right. Whenever I had my 125.
Yeah, what was I riding? What did I have? Cowies?
No, you had your Suzuki 450.
Yeah, so 14.
Okay, what about
2014.
Casey Moto?
I went last year. I don't know. I mean,
I was at the last practice.
I wasn't
against
the last one they were
so
open, but maybe the one before then.
Let's look at it this way. Maybe it's the fact that these practice tracks they didn't used to be. What am I trying to
They
say?
didn't used to be better.
They didn't used to be race quality tracks that you would practice at. So in order to go practice, you had to go to race
Perfect
tracks.
example is Brad Arnold's track.
The place was so fun.
So fun, but really at the end of the day, it was a shithole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now
Lonnie's
like,
track that we were talking about, SNS.
We would ride at Brad's track because that's where you would go ride after you got out of school.
Yeah.
Now, if there was a race at Columbia, I mean, Wednesday we might ride at Brad's, but then ain't nobody riding out of Brad's. Though, I mean, everybody's going to the state race,
Right.
Or
Whatever.
know, yeah. Now, this is something that this is a notion that I have developed in the last, 2 weeks because I've been thinking about this. And I think that part of what you're talking about now is that motocross has slowly become a little more exclusive. In that,
Yes.
now, there are no more stories of Junior buying a lawnmower and throwing newspaper to pay for his first mini bike.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're going and buying an RM80 from Donnell's, they're what?
$4,000
Yeah,
probably, yeah.
$4,000.
Mm-hmm.
What little kid has $4,000? No
Right.
12-year-old has $4,000.
That's a whole nother piece of the pie. Right.
Let me stretch this out. Okay, so we have changed demographic. As the motorcycles have become more advanced, the demographic of people that have the money to afford the more advanced riding and racing are also the type of people that can afford to have a practice track. So as the demographic changes, so does the environment in which we ride and race in, which includes exclusivity, the private track. Okay. So yeah, I could go ride at a private track practically any day of the week because there's 12 of them in the Kansas City
Hell,
area.
you drive down 7 Highway and there's 4 or 5 off of 7 Highway, or was now.
Right.
Now we're down.
So but the point is that there are all these private tracks littered all around the private area, or around the KC area, that like if you know the right person and you know what day typically people ride, because people typically have a set schedule. I mean, talk about an exclusive track. My track at my house, Crutcherwood, dude. I mean, you want to talk about like having to be in the know and at the right time. It was. I mean, that was like. I'll be honest, that was probably the most exclusive track in Kansas City that has ever been. And I made it that way intentionally for one reason, because there were fucking neighbors on both sides of my house. The last thing that I wanted was to have a bunch of people come over and ride and all the time. And we only rode there whenever the soil was good. Now, my point is, as the dollar amount rises with equipment, cost to ride and race, etc., so does the type of person that gets into motocross changes. And the type of people are a little more into themselves, or are people that don't want to be bothered. That's a little more introverted. And
no, it's because Junior or whoever needs to ride every day because the kid that won on Saturday just left Shannon Nide's Edge MX and they rode 4 out of the 5 days of the work week and then drove to the race on Friday night. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a compounding factor to it. Yeah. And the thing is, like I said, we've got a pie. There's a million fractions to it, and we can pull this one out and pull this one out and pull this one out, and then put it back in different orders. And at the end of the day, we still have the same fucking pie. No matter how you cut it, how you slice it, in which way, all of these are little problems that. The thing is, you take one piece out, well, guess what? The other two pieces come back together and fill that void. Now you have 17 problems instead of 18. But those two other problems are now larger problems. So as a whole, now on the other end, when I'm talking about motocross, power sports, Mike, I don't know if you know this, power sports have never been bigger.
Yeah, I can see that.
Between ski-doos, sea-doos, or,
Ski-doos.
Ski-doos and sea-doos. No, between winter sports, personal watercraft, side-by-sides, quads, adventure bikes.
That's huge right now.
Huge. Yeah, I mean, these are all see, this is all under the same umbrella. Now, what folks have to keep into consideration is look at Malcolm Smith, MSR. MSR is gone. Now, meanwhile, Malcolm Smith's brand is as big as ever. It's just the motocross racing part of it, MSR, gone. And Takaraki has expanded Answer. So Answer came in as MSR goes out. Now, meanwhile, MSR now serves a larger demographic because they expanded more into tour riding, trail riding, more adventure riding is what I'm trying to say. So, yeah, motocross, I mean, there's this big umbrella of power sports, and motocross has gotten smaller. The umbrella of power sports is bigger than ever. And in that transition, from us being inside of our little glass house, looking outward, it's like the walls are coming in. But the truth of the matter is the world is getting bigger. And the people inside of the house are changing at the same time. Now, those are two very complex situations that you can't just say, we all need to ride two strokes. That'll fix it.
You would say that, though.
Yeah, he would. Yeah, he's that guy.
So, but I mean, the point.
Go back to Vital, Jeff.
You can't just fix it with one single thing.
I agree.
See, and you're talking about the entire power sports market. You know what I mean? I'm talking Kansas City motocross is kind of what I was.
But Kansas City, see, no matter how you look at it, Kansas City motocross is a part of power sports.
No, I agree with that if you're talking big picture. But I'm talking this. Where's everybody go to ride? You're saying that the private tracks are killing the local tracks. I want to disagree with that because the majority of riders in Kansas City don't have that access.
Right.
A private track ride day that we go ride at your house, what, 5 people?
Yeah.
8 people, 10, 10 if everybody that you called shows up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
no,
and there's still 100 other people that need somewhere to go ride that don't have anywhere to go ride within an hour of the downtown Kansas City.
Yeah. I see what
that
you're
they
saying.
can go pay, hey, I'm going to pay even $30 at this point to ride, even if it's broken to sessions or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I mean, I see where you're coming from with that. I think that loops back around, in my opinion, to it's okay if you're not the fastest guy at the track, because I think a lot of people, the mentality now is if I'm not going to win, I'm not going to do it. So
Yeah,
I
I would say that's just a society mentality. But
Just
yes,
in general,
absolutely.
I
Everybody gets a
see-
trophy type
Well,
deal.
that's instant gratification.
Right.
even
That's
going to
text
Kingsville
message,
to practice, like I never thought about. It was always like, oh, I feel really fast today or whatever. But I never like, as a kid, was like worried about if I go there. Do you think so and so is going to be there? Because if they're going to be there,
you
I'm not
were
going to
getting
go.
to ride your dirt bike. And
I
have
was riding
fun.
my dirt bike,
and you
but
were like
now-
so stoked to ride your dirt
Yes,
bike.
I feel like there's a lot of people that worry about like I'm not ready. Even it wasn't I'm not ready for race day. Now it's I'm not ready for practice. No, I heard Ronnie Feist's going to be there, and I heard Crutcher's going to be there. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go.
And
Or they're intimidated because I can't jump the tabletop.
right, and I don't, and that's part of like the thing about like Scott. You just said you learn more in one day in the A class than you did
Right.
in 3 years in the B class.
Right.
And like, yes, it is a giant leap from B to A, but I don't want to discourage people from doing that, from taking that leap
It's
of move.
it's the safest leap you can take.
Yeah.
In the sport of
From-
motocross,
yeah, from
it's
B
the
to A is the
safest
safest, yep.
leap you can take. 100%.
Gnarliest.
Gnarly is my biggest
Yeah.
step, biggest leap, but the safest.
Yeah.
Because I go into the first turn wide open. I know I'm pretty much coming out and I'm going to be okay. How many first turn crashes do you see at like Minneapolis right now? Probably happening.
Yeah.
Probably maybe one because somebody caught a tough block. They
Right,
got pinched
yeah.
off and 2 guys fell down. I mean, yeah, you have some chaos sometimes, but 90% of the time they make it through the first turn unscathed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's because they all have control of the motorcycle. If you're at a B rider and you're at that level of maybe just that little bit, I just need to, move up, do it. And you're gonna learn twice as much and you're gonna go twice as fast in the next 6 months of riding A. Through the summer of riding
I had
A.
lunch with Brandon Yates 2 weeks ago, I think it was, and
Did he slide his outdoor license or something across the table for you?
no, I was talking to him. I was like, Brandon, what is your goal with motocross racing? And he's, the end goal is to be a professional, and to get as far as he possibly can. I was like, what are you waiting for then? Do you, and like, I tried selling it in 10 different ways. And I got to him to a certain level where I think that he's going to move up after Loretta's, or if he doesn't make it to Loretta's in the B class, then he's going to move up.
It's funny. I had the same discussion with him about 3 months ago.
Really?
Yeah.
And so what, the thing is, Brandon just left his Suzuki support ride to buy Huskies. Okay, so he has taken the harder route intentionally to be on better equipment because he's that serious about, going to that next step.
Shit about a Honda.
Yeah. Or a KTM from Freedom. Oh, wait. That's right. He got a white KTM from Donnell's.
I can answer your question when you're done.
Okay, so
But go ahead.
My point is the A class. Okay, see the A class. Man, this is gonna piss people off. The A.
Get ready.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
Trigger alert. The A class at Loretta's is filled with people that aren't gonna make it.
Ooh.
Right. Yeah. That hurts to hear.
You have 5 dudes.
5 dudes, and guess what? All fucking 5 of them already have contracts.
They're already riding there, unless you're challenge lieutenant and you lose your ride.
Right.
To Justin Cooper.
But they've been signed for years. Before you need me to Sorry.
Shuffle.
Yep. They've been signed for years before they even got there. Ryder DiFrancesco, kids like that. Justin Barsha was factory Honda on the 150 at age 12. So my point is the farming has changed. It's turned young. It's gone left. We got to get these kids in and sign them to 10-year, giant payout over a 10-year period type of deal. Obviously it goes to their parents, But so if I don't want kids to chase that whenever there's only 5 of those available. Is that the dream? Yeah, that's a dream. It's a good dream to
I
have.
still have that dream.
So do I. And it'll never go away. Chase the dream. But understand that you're going to be chasing it and you're not going to get it. Now, again, that sounds like a
Just chase it,
Yeah.
but don't kill yourself to chase
and have
it.
fun doing it and love every moment of it and love motocross and fucking pass it on as many generations as you can because it is the coolest thing in the world that you can do. But understand the end result is not whether you got signed. And I know kids that quit racing because they never got a factory contract, because they didn't get the amateur support ride, because somebody else got the ride and they didn't.
That they were supposed to
That
get
they
or
were
whatever.
supposed to get. And they're like, well, that's it. I'm done. And it's like, dude, no. Go race some fair races. Go beat the Goalie Brothers and collect $1,200. And then see how much that contract matters to you. Whenever on Monday, you get to buy every fucking part on motorsport that you could possibly dream of because you're hood rich, with your fair racing money. Or go to Best of the Midwest Series, which pays 150% plus $500 per class. And
Plus
there's
killer contingency.
Yeah, plus you ride a Kawasaki at the Kansas MX Series, KMCS. You get first place. Guess what? Kawasaki's going to give you fucking $150. That makes your bike payment. So there are other avenues of success that are not that contract.
And you and I are the picture of that.
Yeah, I mean,
Look at what we're doing. We're doing this because it's fun.
Right, yeah.
Because we're talking about dirt bikes. My coaching stuff I'm not, the money part, of that is, it's
there.
It's there. It makes up for my time not right. Me not going riding or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just part of it. I do it because I like doing it, and I get to talk about dirt bikes to kids who want to learn about dirt bikes.
Yeah. We aren't getting paid for this?
Wait.
Say no.
No.
It was supposed to be funny.
No. I don't know. I thought maybe I was getting like a
we were
guest
doing
check
this
or
for
something.
fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to rewind.
Okay, go ahead.
Back to the AB thing.
This is a
that a
hot
rewind
topic
sound?
on OTB.
Yes.
This could be a whole show.
Yeah.
You know who,
Maybe it has been.
again, I realize this is OTB, the motocross podcast, but I'm going to bring in RC cars again.
Do it.
Because I see it both in RC cars, more in RC cars than I do in motocross. The B-class syndrome, I blame a lot on companies and their sponsorships and or their support. Because if you are legitimately could be a top contender and you're worthy of a ride, but you send a resume to whoever and you say, hey, look, I've been racing X amount of time. I'm 13 years old and I got 5th and 6th in the A class. There's no first place on there. They just toss it out.
Right.
But if that same kid says, I went and won the B class at race,
Right.
that manufacturer's like, oh, this kid's a winner. We're taking him.
Yeah.
Wow, just about
Ruined my computer.
Yeah. Like I say, I see that more in the RC side of stuff than I do the motocross, but still it transitions over. And that also goes with, if you have a kid that they don't have the money to go, say, to the big, say, Loretta's, just because all he's won is a Kingsville Friday night series, he still could be worthy of, or have the talent and the ability to be a good rider, a support rider, and that kind of thing. But those races have lost
Their meaning.
because of what teams look for.
The only race that matters in amateur motocross is Loretta's. Mini-O's really doesn't mean that much. Yeah, it's pretty neat.
It did.
No. Maybe
I disagree.
Maybe 10 years ago. Maybe it was kind of cool 10 years ago. The only race that matters in amateur motocross is Loretta Lynn's.
I disagree entirely.
I don't.
I
Ooh,
truly
this is
do.
good.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
And okay, so the reason, you want some anecdotal evidence? Benny Bloss. How many times? Okay, the last time he went to Loretta's, won the 450A class, or was it B? Was it B or A?
I think he's won each of them.
Yeah,
the last one he won. He Horizon Award.
And he gets a Horizon Award winner,
Yeah, it
right?
doesn't get a
He
red.
is the most qualified rider to land a factory ride, and he already had factory support from Yamaha and Rock River. Okay, then He goes to Loretta's, wins Loretta's, gets the Horizon Award winner. It's Travis Pastrana, Ben Riddle, Ricky Carmichael, James Stewart. Who else am I? I mean,
anyone that won A, basically. Yeah.
There's some names there.
Trey Kennard. Benny Bloss. Okay. Benny can't get a ride. Or at the time, he could not get a ride. So he went out and bought a Yamaha 250F, sent the motor to Jamie Ellis, and then went and raced Supercross on his own dime. Now, meanwhile, he's the fucking AMA Horizon Award winner. Who'd he beat? Who got second? I bet you he got a ride.
Lorenzo Lucrucio.
And
he did.
He did. He got the Cycle Trader ride.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So I almost want to say Benny doesn't count.
Well,
and Benny doesn't count because Benny is 8 foot fucking tall.
Well, that's why I said anecdotal evidence.
Right. Yeah. So, but if you go look at the kid who won other than the fact that the kid that wins the JS7 National at Freestone
probably the kid that's
is also the same kid that wins at Loretta's. Mm-hmm. That race doesn't matter. I'm telling you, it doesn't matter it's great and they won them there because it's a big race.
Right.
But Loretta Lynn's national champion next to your name is all that matters.
See, where I would disagree with that is that Loretta's is the carrot at the end of the stick. And it's a carrot that you can actually, reach out and grab.
Okay, and I'll say this. You have to be at every one of those races.
Oh, yeah,
If you want the Yamaha ride, you have to be at all 7 whatever the big 7 are. I think it's so confusing now.
Yeah.
MX Sports sent out an email saying these are our 5 big races of the year or whatever.
Yeah. So, that whenever you sign with Orange Brigade KTM or you sign with
Team Green Kawasaki
or Rock River Yamaha or the HRC doesn't really have.
They have 2. They get like one big bike rider and one little bike rider.
And then Suzuki has RM Army. Okay. Whenever you're getting the free bikes and you're getting the parts allowances and you're getting all the other secondary sponsorships, do you know that whenever you get that ride, your parents have to provide proof of income to show that they're going to be able to pay for you to go to all 5 nationals?
I could see that.
Yeah, no, that's like not talked about.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of stuff not talked about in the back end of that.
I mean, that's like, I'm not saying that's some dark shit, but that proves to you that like you gotta spend money. And the factories want to ensure that you're going to spend that money and you're going to fucking send that kid to those races. And he's going whether he likes it or not.
And the other part, you get the same thing in Supercross.
True.
Go to almost just about every team you go to. Maybe I would even say HRC Honda. I mean, just maybe not your top, your factory Yamaha. They're ones that just, it's Honda, you know what I mean? Or whatever. Go to... You bring something to the table to get your ride.
You're
IB
bringing
Corp,
something with you.
The whole reason IB Corp exists is because the Costello kid.
Yeah.
He's tight with a guy that needs to hide some money somewhere or spend some money. You know what I mean? Anybody that's on a team, whether maybe it's a second tier team, is bringing something to the table. Whether it's they're bringing engine ice or they're bringing, you know what I mean? Whoever they're bringing funding into the team, whether it's Dad's company or Uncle Bill's company or whatever, you know what I mean? They're bringing something. They're bringing the gear deal or they're bringing what XYZ to the table, and that's why they have that ride. Your exceptions are your Eli Tomac, your Ken Roxon.
Right. Yeah.
Those are your exceptions to the rule because they're superstars and you're going to cut those guys a check. But you're bringing something to the table or you're taking a cut to, you're riding for free or whatever. If you're a second tier guy or whatever, it's the same thing as an amateur level.
Now where I think that things are kind of starting to change and have been different over the last couple of years is the importance of social media. There are kids that I will see on motocross revolves around Instagram so heavily. Facebook is compared to Instagram.
It's the demographic. It's who you want to reach to.
So Instagram is the app for motocross, right? Because you get a badass photo of you riding and a couple words about whatever. Okay. So, and then you go to follower count. Okay. Now, and you and I have talked about this, that like whenever I see a kid that's, he goes to the races every weekend. Okay, cool. Yeah, man, I'll show you. I'll give you 25% off or whatever. But then I get a kid that's got 15,000 followers or something like that, but never races. It is such a conflict of interest because I'm like, my heart is like, I love the kid that goes racing every weekend, but my business says, you got to give this kid free graphics. This 15,000 followers.
The only way I run my business is via social media.
Right. Yeah. I mean, same thing. I don't have I don't even have a business card.
Right. I have that, but yeah.
You have that. But so where I'm going with that is that the incentive has changed of going from race results to number of followers, to engagement, to post reach, to comments, to subscriptions, that kind of stuff.
100%.
Now, that's like, who's the guy? Robbie Bell, the off-road racer from California. Robbie Bell he runs a GoPro at all the Big Six races that he does and all the works races and that kind of shit. I watch every single one of those videos. And at the beginning, obviously, his GoPro doesn't show the fenders. You can't see, who his sponsor is. So what he does is, at the beginning of the video, it flashes all of his sponsors. Well, guess what? Every single one of his videos has 20,000 views. So if
you just put your logo in front of
20,000 people, every video on the internet forever. It's just like us with our podcast. Once it goes up, it's there forever. People will be listening to this, 5 years from now.
Oh. Okay.
Who are these guys?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
We're going to go back and listen to some ancient artifacts. Before the Alta saved us. Yeah. So, but it's the return of investment of getting a Robbie Bell. A guy that I would never race against Robbie Bell. I would never see Robbie Bell race.
You're never going to a desert race.
He's a niche rider, but I know who he is, and I know that he's sponsored by X, Y, and Z companies because of his videos. I know the Kawasaki dealership that he rides for. Never heard of him.
So, at one time, it took just being a good rider. Now it seems like it's split. What you're saying is, you have to be good at promoting yourself.
You got to be popular.
100%.
At
you
the
have
same
to sell
time
yourself.
as being. But
yes.
If you're a great promoter, you can be a good rider and get a ride.
I see it.
Yeah.
Especially at the amateur level, like these kids have to post race results. They have to post riding videos.
Yeah.
They have to have some connection to it so they can get hey, come. So they're getting the calls, hey, come to my race, or hey, come do this, or whatever. Or, hey, I want you to come train at my facility while you're passing through Florida or whatever, because you're going to post 5 or 6 videos while you're here for the 3 days you're here, and that's going to hit 100,000 people, whatever the number is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's a huge part of it. And riders with the social following now, like you said, it's now, a social following like that are a whole exclusive level on their own. I mean, on Vital right now, there's this whole bit on Axel Hodges and what he makes or whatever. Yeah. I don't give a shit. I don't care.
Who cares
for
what he
that,
makes?
whatever.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't really care. His videos are cool. I don't even think I follow him on Instagram, but like that's not my thing. I want to see the kid pounding motos or whatever and trying to just do it the hard way, whatever you want to call it. But he's making, whatever it is that he's making. And yeah, I could go fast for 4 seconds. I could do a pretty cool 4-second Instagram video. You know what I mean? And maybe I just need one to go viral. I need to be Rookie White and go jump something real big and get it on camera. And then now I've got a Yamaha just showed up at my house. Brett Q. Is supported through Honda because of his social following. Because he did it himself. He built himself his own social platform.
Brett Q was and people don't know this. Brett Q was Brett Q was like Dane Cook. Brett,
he even kind of looks like him. Yeah. Brett, are you listening? I would say that to your face, just so you know.
Yeah. So Brett was the original social media pro. Because he lived, I'll never remember the guy's name that lived in Oklahoma that always took photos of him.
Blake Shipman.
No. This is before Blake, and it wasn't Tony. Was it Tony
Dayton
Blazer?
Draft.
I can't. Or Paul.
Well, there's a
Shit,
Paul Shipman. There's a Tony Blake. It's all those.
I can't remember the guy's name. Anyway, this dude was
in the no fear gear. Yeah, the
really,
cool stuff.
really good at taking photos. And Brett was tall, had cool looking bikes, and always had beautiful no fear gear and brand new Alpine Star
And
boots.
always
and the
had
showy
cool bikes. His bikes were always cool. They're still cool.
Dude, the bike was decked out. He had mirrored goggles before mirrored goggles were cool.
Custom helmets.
And the red dirt, dude. And Brett would go out and they would water a corner. And the dude that took the photos was getting photo practice in at the same time that Brett was getting lap practice in. Mm-hmm. But then he'd set up a corner or a berm, and Brett would just go out and destroy it lap after lap after lap. And then the dude would take photos, and then that guy would share those photos on the original message forums. Mm-hmm. And then Brett built his following or understood, wow, people know who I am all over the country because of these amazing photos of me. Not because Brett got fourth at the
Loretta Lynn.
at the Loretta Lynn regional in 250C. Mm-hmm. No, I mean, it's like you go to the races at that time and you saw Brett out riding. That's a fucking guy with the no fear gear and the photos and the red dirt. Oh, wow.
Not to mention
shit.
he always did cool shit.
Right, yeah. And would do cool jumps and like was hanging out. I mean, Oklahoma was a popular hotspot for pro motocross racers or famous motocross racers. Mm-hmm. And so he realized the worth in those photos. And then as social media came along, he built around that and Brett knew, I mean, he was 18 years old riding in the C class. Mm-hmm. Now Brett's obviously a very talented rider. And I mean, we line up, who knows, who's going to get what place now. But the point is, he saw that original worth of it, and he has built a career off of throwing whips. I'm not going to say talking shit, but making big claims. The whole X Games best whip deal, go out. He made that
Road
video
to X
series.
Games? I mean, yeah, he created that.
That kind of
Him and
stuff.
Dayton.
Yeah, they realized, wow. And in the meanwhile, Dayton has gotten wealthy because he built those videos and had YouTube ads. And the thing is,
and now he's making videos for whoever.
Right,
Yeah.
So it's the worth is there, the money is there, it's like the road to get famous. And it's almost like how you can either be talented or you can be famous. Think of a Venn diagram. You know what that is? No? Okay,
your two circles? Is that
the
two
two circles that have the tiny little... Okay, so you've got talent and you've got fame, and then there's the tiny little spot in the middle. And the tiny little spot in the middle are guys like Ken Roxon, Austin Faulkner, and then you start going down with like the amateur. Yeah, and then you go into like the amateur ranks. I don't even know who's like the top amateur guys right now. But the point is, it's a very, very small slice. Now, you can be successful as one or the other. Now, the one in the middle, those are the champions. Yeah, those are the racing champions, freestyle champions, those kind of guys. But it's either one or the other, and the layover of the two is very small. So if you're not good at the results, you better be good at throwing whips or being rookie white.
And jumping to the heavens and then back.
And it's rookie white.
You see the guy in the Yamaha that jumps like 100,000 feet at Pala or whatever?
No, it's LACR.
Whatever.
That did he jumped like 3 tabletops in one.
The big, huge quad jump thing.
Yeah.
Like, you got to run off the side of the track.
Yeah.
Okay,
wide open on a
I didn't
Yamaha.
know that was his name.
Okay, so that's rookie white. And he was like
he rides. He's good.
I think he
he's
was a
good,
B rider at the time.
Yes.
Okay.
So rookie did the Amsoil Road to Supercross this year, and like I don't know if he got his pro license or not, but and I'm not discrediting him and saying he's bad, but he didn't really do shit in arena cross. Okay. Maybe he's just not that good at arena cross. That's fine. I'm fucking terrible at it.
Yeah.
But the point is,
don't get me started,
dude. Everybody knows who Rookie White is because of that jump. And meanwhile, he's got the Yamaha ride, the Thor gear,
cool
you name
stuff.
it.
Yeah,
because he did that one jump. And he didn't do that jump for social media. He did it because he wanted to be a fucking animal.
Yeah, no shit. He wanted to show that his balls were bigger than everyone else.
And in the process, it went viral. So that shows there's a major like worth, intrinsic value on videos and shares.
Look at Gary V or any of these guys that are that Gary Vee has built his social media business around telling people how to use social media to build themselves.
Yeah, Gary
Kids
Vee.
these days,
He's a social media guru.
yeah.
Okay.
Kids these days, they want to be YouTubers. They want to grow up to be YouTubers
Yep.
and carry around a camera and talk about their day and what they're doing. That's what 15-year-olds want to do. 16-year-olds do. They want to get paid to be YouTubers and make YouTube edits about their day or what they're doing or whatever. And it's just, that's a whole other concept that has now found its way into motocross, where the kid that pounds the stories of Chad Reed burning through, riding off into the track with a tank of gas on his tank, you know what I mean, and burning through all of it and going back and getting more, or Carmichael burning through, you can't be done until we burn through this whole tank of gas, through the day.
Yeah.
There's some guys that do it. I mean, you have to get there now, but that is part of it at the high level. But you have to have the social media following to go with it. So it's just
or not. I mean,
there's one or the other.
Right,
I guess
yeah,
I don't know,
yeah.
and I feel like I'm just contradicted myself right there when I was talking about that.
I understand where you were going with that.
Now that has just become another part of it. The stories of Carmichael and Reed and doing it their way are kind of long gone, and unless they've already are at MTF or GPF or whatever,
Yeah, and to kind of let me illustrate. I don't know what the word would be as an adverb to author. Let me just author this. There's something that is missing from the new generation of people and
society. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go.
And it is one word, 4 letters, grit. And so your days of the guys from the Rust Belt, Josh Lichtel, Brock Hepler, I have names in my head that I'm like, I can't pull them out because I'm not thinking clearly. But my point is, those kind of guys that would go out, Bobby Canary. That's what I was trying to say. Those old school but newer age guys that would go out with not that much talent but a shit ton of work ethic, they could make a living off of racing dirt bikes. There are fewer and fewer and fewer of people like that. And I would say something that, like, one of the reasons that I love Kevin Moran's is because he has that. He doesn't come from a wealthy family. I mean, he still buys his bikes from Letco. And that bike that he's racing in Arena Cross, it's not a free bike. That bike has a note on it. And it's coming from, the bike came from Letco off the showroom floor. I'm sure he's modded it out and done all the things to it. But the point of the matter is that he is doing it off of his own time. And he's beating the Babbitts guys and the Tough Honda guys and the Team Faith riders. These guys that are not paying for bikes, that have, salaried rides. Now, Kevin, what I like about Kevin is he doesn't take no for an answer. God damn it. If you can respect him, you don't have to like Kevin, but you got to respect his work ethic and that he's in college full time and is racing professionally. And he's doing it on a nickel and dime budget that he's getting from local businesses around Topeka, from some of the motocross community here. And a lot of people look down on him for taking handouts. But if it wasn't for the handouts, he wouldn't be in California. He wouldn't be in Denver. He wouldn't be standing on the podium week in and week out at the Amsoil Arena Cross races. So, and Kevin is one of those rare kids that has the grit and the desire to make it happen, so much so that he is, kind of taking it on the chin and learning a major lesson in humility and going to people and saying, hey, do you have a little bit of money that you can spare me? I really can't offer you anything, but God damn it, this is my dream. But the thing is, Kevin follows through with the results. There are other people, myself included, whenever I was like 19 years old, I was like, oh, sweet, this is during like the GoFundMe era, where like, it was like, well, fuck, this guy just got $5,000 for nothing, just from people, because people like him. So I was like, well, I'm fast and talented. I should be getting $5,000 because I ride a dirt bike, and like that has transitioned out of that. Now people, like we just talked about social media, that's kind of the new way of doing that. But he's doing it old school, and that's what I like about him. And it's rare. It may not be the most honorable way. It may not be the easiest. It's not the easiest way. And it may not be the hardest way because he doesn't have a full-time job. But it's rare the way that he's doing it. And that's something that's why I love having him on OTB, because I want him to keep getting those little deals that he's getting until he gets, because Kevin's one of those guys that I think could honestly get signed to a satellite team, to a deal where he doesn't have to pay for anything, doesn't have to worry about anything, just shows up to the races, flies to the races, and has his bike there ready to go. That would be a huge accomplishment,
right?
To have that. I mean, to never have to worry about your bike. That's like the biggest luxury that a rider can have.
Well, this all kind of reminds me of like Bubba Pauly. Did you see his Instagram tonight?
No.
Yes.
Did you see it?
Yes.
Oh my! Well, so he made the main tonight.
Right. Yeah, I saw that.
He just sent it. But I mean,
that was huge.
He basically tried to kill himself, I think, and then made the main. I mean, whatever. But I mean, he built his team. This team he has, this TXS St. Louis Tattoo Company. It's guys he knows, guys that love the sport, want to help out, whatever. He's built this team. He's got a second rider. You know what I mean? Maybe that guy's got some buddies that want to, or an uncle or whatever. I don't know. I don't know the whole story.
It makes you wonder, could Bubba go racing if it wasn't for Michael Akaden? And the other way around.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. But either way, they're in it together. They've built a team. And they've got support to do it, and it's the same kind of route. You know what I mean? They're doing it on their own. They're doing it their way. I mean, look at Adrian. I mean, I'm just trying to think of guys. Or Colin. Colin's in school and working at O'Reilly's, paying for his stuff when he can. Yeah. Adrian, he's got help from his family and stuff, but he's doing it his way. He doesn't have he's not. They're buying stuff.
I love that too.
Right. So you just look at that, and it's doable, but you got to find a way to do it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And like we were talking, or this circles back around to what we were talking about earlier about like, hey, chase the dream, have fun with it. Those guys are still chasing the dream, and they're finding their way of doing it. Nobody walks into a Kawasaki ride. Nobody walks into a KTM ride. You know what I mean? It doesn't happen. Yeah. You got to have, and nowadays you got to have the social media following. You've got to have connections. You've got to, and it's got to be a full-time job for you and dad, or you and mom and dad, or whatever. It's a commitment.
You know something else that people forget? And it goes along with what you're saying about enjoy it, and even if you don't make it to the top level, if you play your cards right, you will end up doing something because of your journey in motocross that, for example, like you're talking about, you work at FedEx, but at the same time, we're doing this right now. Right. Yeah. Or for instance, maybe you don't make a factory ride, but you get a job at Alpine Stars. Right. That you would have never gotten if you would have quit. Yeah. If you would have just said, I'm done. But if you continue, it's things like, for instance, like you're talking about Brett Q, take the social following out of it, but the fact that he didn't quit because he didn't get a factory ride at Honda, and he just continued to do it and have fun with it.
He had fun with it.
Correct. And then it rolled into, and now
he's got help. You know what I mean? He works still, but he still, you know what I mean? But he still does cool stuff on dirt bikes at the same time. And I mean, and motocross teaches you so much as a kid level, or even if you come into it later as an adult or whatever, it teaches you so many things, and especially as a kid, I mean, hard work, whatever. You saw, like you and I coming up was the Carmichael era. Yeah. You saw Carmichael train. That was all you ever heard was how gnarly he was, and he changed the sport. So that's all hard work. That's all you knew it was going to take. Now there's social media, there's little pieces to it. You know what I mean? But that hard work that you do
is like
can help do that
right here. Yeah. This is your hard work.
Yeah. Well, some of it, yeah. You still got to do the cool shit to be able to put on there, but you have to. It's just another piece of the pie. We keep talking about this pie that nobody brought to the fucking show. I don't know.
There is no pie here.
No pie. There should be pie.
Should be.
No pie tonight. No? Well, boys, we say we wrap it up. We're almost 2.5 hours in.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So, two things. Number one, thanks to our sponsors, Bar to Bar MX, Nick Peterson's Bike Works, Donnell's Motorcycles, whatever it is that Corey HIpp is now doing, no longer Darttown Arena, and the KMCS. KMCS, Kansas Motocross Championship Series. Go to kansasmx.com and check out the schedule of the races coming up. Obviously, this weekend at Inman will probably get rescheduled.
No, this was just a my deal. This weekend.
I didn't.
The state races in like 2 weeks.
That's right.
They've got two. The next 2 weekends, they've got races each weekend, and I'm not sure which one's which.
So here's what you're gonna do. You are going to go to Donnell's Motorcycles, and you're going to pick up a brand new bike, and then you're going to take it to Nick Peterson, and he's going to tune it in for you, okay? And then you're going to go to the Kansas Motocross Championship Series at Bar to Bar.
In your brand new Fox gear.
In your brand new Fox
or
shift gear. Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
And on the way, you're going to
stop by Chattanooga, Tennessee. And yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so now... Mike, I don't know if you know this.
Uh-oh.
And we last week on a Race Companion.
Okay.
Do you know how badly we dropped the ball?
Oh, yeah, I probably at least 10 times, but I don't know how bad it was.
One time.
Just one ball?
One ball.
We dropped one ball big time?
One gigantic ball that we
something.
dropped, and we dropped it bad.
Oh, boy.
Do you know what it is?
Nope.
Last weekend was OTB's first episode last year. We're 1 year old.
Wow.
Happy birthday, OTB.
Happy
and
birthday.
You missed it.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah,
we dropped
had
the
no
ball.
idea.
You missed
Yeah.
it.
I was on Facebook this week and was looking at On This Day, and it came up was the very first OTB episode of You and Me.
You know, I don't
Wow.
know when the first day of Innovative MX is.
Well, it was one of those things that you just kind of came up with
Yeah.
over time.
Yeah.
It was an old idea that came
just
in.
came
yeah.
to life, yeah.
So, yeah, congratulations, sir. We are 1 year old.
1 year old.
Yeah, and a week.
In a week.
But yeah, last weekend, last year was our first episode.
Wow, we celebrated by a Race Companion with a terrible race.
That was a rough one.
I fell asleep.
Yeah.
I fell
so did
asleep.
we. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about Plessinger, though? He's an animal.
He's an
In
animal.
the mud.
Yeah.
So we're supposed to be winding this thing down.
Yeah. So, with that being said, thanks to everybody that's ever shared the podcast, that has ever talked about it, ran our sticker on your bike, your truck, your toolbox, drink, coaster, whatever it is. Thank you to all of our Patreon subscribers that have been with us for the year, and obviously we're winding down the gears of the Patreon subscription service only to businesses now. No longer are we doing it for people. But hey, we appreciate the shit out of you guys throwing us money, helping us buy this new equipment, and just the whole atmosphere that we've been able to create with OTB could not have been done without our Patreon subscribers. Look for more sticker packs coming out, that we're just going to give out at the races. We still have some t-shirts that you can get at ripandruts.com/store, or you can just go to ripandruts.com. Just keep it
Pinned over the bars.
Keep it pinned over the bars.
Well, come see me and don't go over the bars.
Yeah. And thanks to everybody that's ever been on the show. We've got a really long list of people that have been in. We've got a long list of people that we're going to have come on. The show is going to continue to change and morph and evolve over the years, and hopefully we can continue doing this. I believe that this is episode number 35 or 36, somewhere in there. So obviously we can't do it every week. We would love to.
That'd be great.
I'd love to do more than one a week. But reality is Mike has a full-time job. I have a full-time job. I have a sticker business on the side. Mike runs RC races on the side. And since we're the two dogs in this kennel, it's kind of hard. Yeah. It's kind of hard for us to, always get together and make the action happen. So, just as always, tell your friends about OTB. You can follow us on Instagram. It's over.the.bars. On Facebook, it's OTB Podcast. Give it a share, give it a like. You already know. Push the subscription button. Mainly on iTunes, push the subscription button. And what's really cool about that is, okay, when I say iTunes, I mean the podcast app that comes on your phone. Also, you can do it on Stitcher. Push the subscribe button, and every time that we upload an episode, you will get a notification that there's a new episode in case you're not super into social media or anything like that. And since we do an absolute junk loose program job of telling people when we're going on the air.
It's pretty bad, yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to help you do better tonight just because I was coming on because I do a pretty good job.
We did fair.
Ish.
Yeah. So just push that subscribe button on iTunes or the podcast app or on Stitcher or wherever it is the finer podcast can be found. And Mike, anything you'd like to say?
Thank you very much to all of our viewers. All the people on Facebook. I can't read the number right now, but
I think it says 0 now.
Yeah, everybody's tuning
Or
up.
8, maybe
that's a
8.
shame. Yeah, let's go with 8.
It was up in the 20s.
Yeah, it was. We had some viewers. Okay, but yeah, I didn't realize it had been a year, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's really cool. Yeah. All right, we're gonna keep it going.
We're gonna have to celebrate.
Yeah, let's celebrate.
Let's go to the titty bar right now
with LaCroix. Bring back LaCroix. LaCroix.
Come on.
All right. See you. Bye.